And there we go. Back once again, episode 17. 17. Wow. And we're about halfway through book one. A lot of good gameplay, that's for sure. I'm enjoying this. But here we are, once again. Should have 4 players tonight. I've got Dane, I've got Rachel, I've got Patrick, who seems to have his mic issues fixed. We'll see. And Bellafor as well, who's just joining us right now. We're going to be introducing our new characters, our backup characters, 3 at this time. Although Magnolia is also new, she's only been in 2 sessions so far, so it's really a fresh group of characters who will be joining, hopefully, the companions. Hopefully. Who knows? They might go off on their own and start up their own little group, questing somewhere else. Could happen. Kyle, introduce yourself and your character you're playing today.
Hi guys, I'm Kyle. I'm back again. Finally got KO'd last session for first time I've been KO'd in the 10 plus sessions I've been here, so I'm pretty proud about that. I will be playing Dane for a smidge, and then I will be playing Arthurian Drakebane, Dwarven Fighter, Savant, Caravan Guard, has a big beard, likes ale. Enough said.
Rachel, you're in here tonight too. What's going on?
Yes, I am. So I'm Rachel, and I normally play Elias, our good champion of Caden, and I guess I'll be playing Althea, who goes by Thea for short. And I won't give anything away, so we can expect stuff in some descriptions later.
Good thinking. Okay. And then we've got my nephew Jesse joining us once again, playing Sheppy. Introduce yourself, Jesse, your character.
Hi guys, this is Jesse. I usually play Valifor, but today I'm going to the magic side, and I'm going to be playing my goblin. He is quite the character that I'll be introducing tonight. He will be entertaining, I'm sure. All right, guys, have a good one, and I can't wait to play.
And of course, we got Patrick testing out his mic. Introduce yourself, Patrick, and the character that you're playing tonight.
I'm going with a Magnolia Raiju, who appears, from what some people have seen so far, appears to have some level of nobility.
I'll give it a fair try.
Okay, you'll get an extra hero point for this, so go for it.
Well, it all started innocently enough. Whenever they were all sleeping, I was stuck on watch, volunteer work and all that. I'm a saint. I gotta let my teammates sleep. And things did not go to plan. We heard knocks and whispers down the hallway. I went to investigate. Trying to let them sleep. I thought I was doing the right thing. I tried to let them sleep. Knocked open the door. And then walks one of these little bat-looking creatures. We had at it. Fighting was ferocious. I think he bit my ankle twice. Vicious little thing. And one of the little mushroom-eyed little pipsqueaks that we were fighting before decided to wade in on the fun. I dispatched the one little bat-looking feller, but I couldn't stand up to that critical hit bonk across the face from the little rabbit-eyed looking feller there. So I went down. Everybody else came to my rescue. After that, I got quite the scalding by Magnolia for not letting people sleep, and I should have woke them up sooner. All in good time. Healed up for a few minutes, and then we decided to push our luck and decided to leave the ruins and head back to Otari. So we made our way back, bypassing the secret doors and chambers that we had found. We went up to the upper initial level that we were in, met with King Strong. Turned out he had no treasure either. He fell at our mercy. Valifor threw the severed head of Growlgast at him and demanded the treasure. But then we also found out that there was a sand pile there in front of the throne, and little carvings and statuettes looked a lot like Atari. They were planning something dastardly for sure. Of course, we couldn't let that stand. So a little bit of intimidating prowess and whatnot, what have you. Got them to scrap the idea of an attack on Otari. But then we had a very large debate about what we should do with them now. Should they help us? Should they not? Ultimately decided to let them go. Where after that, we then proceeded to head back to Otari, do a few things. Went to inform Ren, but she was not on. The lights were on, but nobody was home, unfortunately. Did meet back up with Farley Tell. We sort of embraced and briefed him on the situation in the Gauntlet. No idea what Elias was doing. I forgot at that particular point in time. I'm sorry, Elias.
He was shopping. It's okay.
Yeah, shopping. Okay,
The
gotcha.
whistle. The whistle.
Yes, the whistle. Yes. Shopping. Yes. Almost forgot. First try. Got it. And so, yeah, that's sort of where we left off, where we were sort of going about our business and going to go get some sleep. We have been up for quite a long time up to this point. Fatigue and exhaustion were starting to take their toll.
All right, make sure you got an extra hero point, so you'll have 2 for the evening. Althea, we're going to start with you. Althea, of course, goes by Thea. She's a gnome. She's lived in Otari for quite a long time, actually. 5 years, I believe. She's got the wanderlust in her as a gnome, a fae, but also a devout follower of Desna. She stays at a small little abode in Otari. Simple life. While working at the Dawnflower Library. She spends a great deal of time there, tending to the shrine, learning from her mentor, Ilana Moonglow, who's also an adept and follower of Desna, and has instructed Thea in the ways of Desna, to nurture her wanderlust, perhaps, as well. It's a beautiful day, Thea. You found yourself on the upper ledges that surrounds Otari. Just beyond the cemetery, in fact, right up on the cliff edges up there. You're walking close to the forest edge, in fact. You could just make out in the distance as you turn about to look at Otari, look in the direction of Otari and the sea that's out before you. You could just see in the distance the cemetery. But then something gets your attention. Butterflies. Not one, not two, maybe 6 or 7, maybe a dozen. They just suddenly appear in the distance, maybe 20 yards in front of you, kind of dancing around as they do in the air. There's a light breeze. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. This, of course, is important to you. A sign of Desna, perhaps. Butterflies are her symbol. You're aware of these things, and you begin to follow the butterflies. They lead you to the grass blades in the plain that sits in front of the forest, going in circles. At some points, you begin to run and chase after them, and they dart off. You could see them. You could feel it within you. You want to follow them. You want to be like them. You want to wander. You want to see what's out there. Time seems to pass. You lose track of it. They seem to be heading toward the cemetery. Doesn't bother you. You've been into the cemetery many times. In fact, it's the Dawnflower Temple Library that oversees and maintains the cemetery. They work their way in through the front gate. You follow in behind. You can't help it. Again, you're mesmerized by them, and they seem oh so close at a certain point now. They're only like maybe 10 feet in front of you. You could feel like you could just grab at them and let them land on you. And just as you think they would, and they might come to you and land on your arm, you suddenly become aware of something. Aware of your surroundings. You pause for a second. You look back behind you. It's black. It's dark. It's silent. You whip back around towards the butterflies. They're gone. You don't see them. Suddenly, you start to get a little nervous, a little shaken. You start to come out of your state of joy, your bliss, if you will, and realize you're in the middle of the cemetery and it's black. It's dark. It's nighttime. But here you are. Suddenly you hear something. You hear a scream. It's a scream of terror. You hear down in Otari itself, you hear people screaming. What do you do? What are you thinking? What's going through your head, Thea?
It's dark. I can't see like this. I hear noises. I'm afraid. Althea casts light.
And the magic light appears. What are you putting it on? Now you are surrounded by stone, sarcophagi. All this is around you. There's no trees close by. Do you have something that you can cast it on?
She casts it on her religious symbol.
So you're holding it?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, as you do so and the light appears there before you, you see them. Abominations. The undead. They rise. I'm going to need you to roll initiative. I'll put you in the tracker. Right-click your encounter and go ahead and use perception as your initiative. About 30 feet away from you, to your right, you turn about and you see it. You see this, one of the freshly interred creatures begins to move towards you with a moan and a groan. It approaches. Okay, you're up next. What do you do? You see, what you can see is what you can see. If you look at your map, whatever you see. It sounds like there is a lot of undeath surrounding you. You hear the movement of feet, the moans, scraping of bones on stone. Something is arising. Something is appearing, and you're in the middle of it. Here you are, sitting in the middle of the cemetery. What do you do? Come on, Rachel, you got this.
I know.
Well, what would Thea do? It's not what you would do, it's what Thea would do. She's panicked at the moment. She doesn't know what's going on. One minute she's in bliss, full of daylight and sunshine. The next minute she's surrounded by undeath coming at her.
She'll cast Moonbeam.
Moonbeam, put it in the chat and let's see what that's about.
She'll look towards. I'm assuming the moon is out at some. I didn't mean it.
You shine a ray of moonlight. Make a spell attack roll The beam of light deals us d6 fire damage. Moonbeam deals silver damage for purpose of weaknesses, resistance, and the like. Critical success and success. The beam deals full damage. All right, so go ahead and make your attack. Pick a target. Somebody within 120 feet that you can see. One target. And it takes 2 of your actions.
Yes, it does. So as soon as this creature comes up running towards her, she almost has a sort of panic. She looks up at the sky and instantly thinks, okay, the moon. Just shoot the moonbeam
Yes.
at the creature. I have to get away, and this thing's going to catch me. It's so close. So I'll roll my attack. I think I can just click this button. I got a 20! 8! So, yeah.
Critical hit. You got
Nat 20. Woohoo!
So that means the beam deals double damage and damage. And we'll double it. It's D6 fire
I'm not
damage.
sure if it has a mental trait. I don't have the like the traits listed with the conditions.
Don't worry about it.
It's a sense thing, but all right. So what was that? And you said damage?
Mm-hmm. It's D6 fire, and it'll be doubled. So we'll just multiply it by 2. Unless it's on your token. 5 points, double to 10. 10 points of evocation
Fire damage. And silver.
The confusion, you cast this beam of heat and power, and it singes the creature as it approaches close, and you could smell the burning flesh on it. It writhes in pain, but continues to sway towards you. You have one more action.
She actually runs.
Okay, take a stride.
She's alone. She wants out of here. From the pathways, which one is the closest, like, leads me to the Dawnflower? I'll assume she knows.
Beyond the one you just attacked. It's in that direction.
So that this direction?
Yes. That's your 25 feet, and you're done. You hear motion and movement all around you, including behind you. One comes up behind you and just stops short. All right. Now, before we go into the next round, Sheppy, you're not sure what's going on. You heard all kinds of screams and sound, and it sounds like there's a lot of activity down below you in Otari. You've made your way up through a small crack in the wall leading into the cemetery. You like to go in there and hang out now and then. You have a special little spot. It's dark, it's nighttime, but not an issue for you, not with your dark vision. But you hear movement. You hear a scream in the distance. You move forward maybe 30 feet from the little entrance through the wall leading into the cemetery on the western side of the wall. And there you take cover behind a stone sarcophagus laying in front of you. You lay down and you're looking around, and you can see them. You can see them with your dark vision. You see all these creatures, these undeath, rising from their graves. But there's something also you see. You see a smaller creature up ahead, maybe 60 feet or so away from you. It looks like she's being attacked. She lets out a scream, and there's this bright light and flash that lights up the whole area around her, and you can see clearly now what's happening. There's this skeleton creature coming up and clawing at her, and in front of her, she looks like she's trying to get away. There's this other, more recently interred creature, a zombie or something, attacking her. But you're taking cover here. Go ahead and roll your initiative. You're in the tracker. You're going to be using perception for this, which is your default. So go ahead and roll your initiative, and let's see where you fit in going into round 2. Okay. We're going to go to the next round. So this is what you see, Sheppy. What do you do?
Okay. All right. All right, I'm going to move 30 feet.
Okay, so a stride action.
Actually, 25 feet. I forgot he's only 25 movement. Okay. It's 40 feet away from one of them. Let's see what I got here.
There is a lot of sounds coming from all around you. These undead are everywhere.
All right, before I cast the spell,
Yes.
I'm going to yell out, "Do you need help?"
Common?
Common.
You can reply. Alfie.
Yes, over here! Help!
Duck! And he's going to cast the spell.
Okay. Put it in the chat. Let's see what you're doing.
All right, I'm going to use my meta magic to cast Burning Hands.
Okay, put in meta magic as well,
All right.
so we can all see that. I think it's range. Gouts of flame rush from your hands. You deal 2d6 fire damage to creatures in the area. This is a 15-foot cone. All right, so it's only got a range of 15 feet. But here's where the reach spell kicks in. If the next action you use is cast a spell, which it is, that has a range, which this does, increase the spell's range by 30 feet. So 30 plus 15, you're going to have 45 feet on this. And this is going to be a basic reflex save made by these two creatures. And go ahead and roll your 2d6, your damage. So we know what that is. And I'll make the saves. Reflex save, DC 15, did I say?
18.
18. All right. So you caught 2 of them. Yep, I'm public. Let me change that. All right, so he failed, so he'll take full damage, which is what?
7.
Sorry, I got a little confusion here. Oh, he failed miserable. In fact, it is a critical failure. He takes double damage, which is going to be 14 points. And this is fire damage, right?
Yep.
All right. Let me check the other creature here. Oh. All right, so you come out from behind cover, asking if she needs help, and while you do that, you start weaving this magic, and this big gout of flame appears and extends way out in front of you, 40 plus feet, and you manage to catch 2 of these creatures, especially the one attacking this person at the moment, and they're both engulfed in flames. However, the bonier one, the one right next to Thea, didn't seem to be as affected by it. Although all its clothes have been completely singed off it. It's basically a skeleton. And that's it for you, right? Okay,
That is it?
that's it. And right when it gets here, it stops. Althea, you see all this fire blaze in front of you, catching these creatures. You're not sure what's happening behind you, but somebody's back there and they just shot this fire at you. You don't know if they're trying to catch you or what. What do?
Having somebody else here, although she can't see them, they're just beyond her view in the darkness. She's feeling a little bit more confident and is going to attack this skeletal creature in front of her with an electric attack.
Ooh, electricity.
There it is.
An arc of lightning leaps from the one target to another. You deal electricity damage equal to D4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
Alright, so she casts it and extends. I suppose they're coming from maybe from her hands, from her holy symbol. She's casting it and targeting both of those creatures.
Okay. Let's do the one in front of you first.
Okay.
DC 18 reflex save. Let me select that little guy and then click this button. Oh, okay. And a basic reflex save. Okay, and what's your damage? Roll a d4 for this one, plus your ability mod.
It's my ability mod's +4, and I rolled a 1, so in total it's a 5.
Okay.
Next time I use fire, we have to add +1 damage. I forgot about my burn it.
Oh yeah, was that to both targets?
Both targets take 1 more damage.
All right, fire, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the electricity on the one in front of you, the skeleton one. You can see it flicker on it, but it pays no attention to it at all. It continues to come at you. The other one, let's make his roll too. All right, it is going to. What'd you get for damage?
5.
Again, you see the electrical arc come at this creature, and it's glowing all over the creature. You can see it flickering and shooting off sparks, but it's completely ignoring it. It continues to come at you.
And she will cast shield.
Now, all the while this is happening, you hear more of these creatures moving about from behind you and beyond. They're everywhere. This one, however, directly in front of you, reaches out to you with a claw. What's your armor class?
We gotta get out of here. I can see them.
It's a 5. Not a 5, it's a 15. Sorry, my armor class is a 15.
Okay, take 5 points of slashing damage as this claw tears across your cheek into your neck. Not that it knows better, but that's what it does. And then it attacks again with another claw, reaching at you. Okay. And it is successful, and it's going to do some more damage. You're going to take 4 points of slashing damage as it maneuvers its way around and behind you, blocking your path. Now, Sheppy, you see them, and
All right.
you also hear them. Now, it's your turn, but hold on. Let me move them. There's going to be some motion.
Oh, I would have used shield block. I didn't read the second half of shield spell. That's alright. I forgot.
Oh, the second attack? You want to use that? That'll end your spell.
Nah, that's all right. I forgot. I'll remember next time.
Okay. All right, Sheppy, it's your turn. We're at the top of round 3. What do you do? You've got
Okay. He wants to call out. I see at least 15 of them. Come towards my voice. I know a way out of here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to kill this one next to me. I'm going to produce flame. 24.
24. Is there a save on this? I don't think so. No. Okay, roll damage. That is going to be a hit.
Is it critical?
That's a critical hit.
All right, it's going to do persistent fire damage as well.
Okay. Roll your damage.
Okay, I get +1, so he took 3 points of damage plus going to take persistent D4 persistent damage every round.
The fires consume it as it falls and collapses to the ground in front of you.
Does it light up the area so she can see?
No. It burns itself out by the end of your turn.
Quickly, this way.
Alright, seeing this strange creature that enjoys shooting fire. So she's gathered, she just runs straight for him.
Okay, movement 25. There's a stride.
Towards that
And-
sarcophagus.
I was just going to say, my second action will be which direction?
Okay, and you got one more, I think.
That closed sarcophagus there is a secret way out. That's where I came in.
This
She
little,
looks down at it.
one more action. Come on, you got this.
Yeah, she'll just finish it right outside the coffin because I'm assuming it's closed.
Mhm. Okay, you're done. 2 actions striding forward. This bony creature appears next to you, Sheppy, and reaches out to claw at you. And it hits. You're going to take 5 slashing damage as it rakes across your chest and arm. And the other creature that was engaging this gnome, and there continues to be motion. All around you, you hear the scraping of bones, the moving of bodies. Coming into your light, Althea, you see more and more of them coming, especially from below you in the south. And with that, we go to round 4. Sheppy, it's your turn.
He's getting out of dodge.
Okay.
5 feet. Another 20 to here.
Okay.
It's 1 action.
Right. Now, before you move, where you came in is right here.
Oh, okay.
That's your little secret spot that you like to sneak into the cemetery late at night. It's just big enough for a small creature like you and perhaps even a gnome.
This way, gnome. And for my 3rd action, I will disappear off the map.
All right, Althea, you are next. This little goblin creature that just appeared seemed to rescue you, saving you from certain death, leads you towards this little hole. And he says, come this way. Do you follow?
with all the power in her little feet, yes, she does.
You do so. All right. You make your way to this little hole, and you squeeze your way through. It's not too tight. You get right through it, though, and you get to the outside and out of harm's way. You see off in the distance towards the north, it looks like torches coming. You hear voices. You hear men hollering. You hear weapons unsheathing. But you've made good your escape. And then you fall to your knees. You don't see the goblin. He's nowhere in sight. You're surrounded by darkness just outside of the walls. You don't see him. You don't see your rescuer. But you reach up to your face and you feel the marks that the creatures laid upon you. You feel blood dripping from you. You close your eyes tight. You put your hands over your face and you let out a murmur, a whimper, followed by a scream. And suddenly, once again, there is a silence. Your eyes open. It's still dark. You kind of shake yourself awake, and in your bed, you realize that you're in your abode. You're not in the cemetery. It was a dream. It was a nightmare. You stare into the darkness of the ceiling above your head. Again, it's still late. Or perhaps morning. You look to the right of your little bed, and there you see staring at you two little eyes. You recognize it. It's Binley. You reach out, and as you do, this little mouse comes off the table and it jumps into your little hand, and it starts to scurry up your forearm, and you pull it tight to your body, curled up in your little bed. It must be morning. Binley wakes you up every morning. And there he was. You take a deep sigh. You reach up to your face. You don't feel the marks. You don't feel the scratches. You don't feel the blood. You hear a commotion outside, but it's not the screams of terror, the clash of battle. It's the sound of a wheeled cart making its way across stone cobbles. It's morning. Another day. Another reason to get up the Dawnflower. You take another deep sigh. What are you thinking? Thea, what do you do?
As I lay in bed with Binley and petting his soft little head. Desna, was this a warning? What is yet to come? I must go to the Dawnflower and pray on this. Maybe Alana has some answers for me.
And with that, you begin yourself to get ready and head off to the Dawnflower another day. Arthurian?
Sorry.
It was good to read the letter. An old friend. So long ago, it seems. We've grown tired of this place, where you are now, where you've been. Miravan. Tamley, where did she say she lived? Oh, Otari, some small village to the south of Kortos. Otari. It would be good to go again. Visit an old friend. And so begins a long journey. What should have only been a couple days' trip, along with a caravan heading south to Otari, ended up taking you a week. You're well practiced in guarding caravans, but in this case, you weren't a guard. You decided to join this caravan that would be heading south. One of its stops would be Otari, eventually, but it took a good 7 days to reach it, which is a long time. It was rough going. At one point, there was the threat of a goblin ambush, but you carried on. It delayed you probably at least a day, maybe a day and a half. But the group continued on. You made your way further south, thinking about Tamley and what awaits in this new place, new adventure, new chances for gold, work. The lumber industry isn't what it was years ago. Many reasons for that, but that's another story. Sheppy, you're in.
Yes.
You're sitting there along the shore. It's a beautiful day. But you found yourself here at the Otari fishery where you like to hang out. In fact, you like to sleep underneath the porch. You're sitting there chewing on some bones. Describe what you're doing as you sit here in your favorite little spot at the fishery.
This is where Sheppy likes to spend its days, with this fine cuisine that's left by these fishermen. He loves fish heads, gills, bones. They're succulent. He spends his day with this fine dining, eating. And the local owner of the fishery is kind to Sheppy and gives work to Sheppy. Sheppy appreciates anyone who's nice to him.
Just then, you hear footsteps on the porch. You kind of hide yourself around the corner, the right side of the building, out of sight. But you've been found out. A familiar voice, that of Tamley, calls out to you. Sheppy, where are you?
Yes, Tamley, Sheppy is here.
And as she appears, you see she reaches from behind her a plate. And it's got a nice, fresh fish on it. She says, here, this is for you. It's lunch.
Oh, thank you.
And it is already
Come on.
noon. It is already noon today, so she gives you a nice lunch, a succulent fish.
It's gone in seconds. Still have some scales left on his cheeks.
She begins to turn and go back inside the Otari fishery. Suddenly, the familiar voice calls out to her. There, in the distance, is Arthurian. After reaching Otari, Arthurian, you asked around about the fishery. It's a very prominent building, as expected from a good friend, Tamley. She would be prominent, wouldn't she? A short little trek later, you find yourself along the shore. You just catch eye of her. There she is with her peg leg. Walking along the porch, you call out to her. She stops abruptly. She turns in the direction of this voice, a familiar voice. Arthurian, is that you?
Hi, Tamley, it's me.
Ah, well, come into the porch. Come in, I'll fix you a meal. Tell me all about your journey. And her hands outstretched and she welcomes you.
A decent meal after a long trek on the road would be nice. Perhaps a few mugs of ale as well there, Tamley. I know that you keep some good stock around.
Yes, yes, come in. And so good to see you. And she wraps her arms around you when you draw close. You recognize that peg leg. How you've missed the sound of that whenever she moved across the bow of a ship. Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
And she invites you into the Otari fishery. And welcome to the Otari fishery. This is one of the most prominent buildings in all of Otari. This is where we bring in all the fish. And fish is a big thing here in Otari. So business is good. I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding work here, Arthurian, she says to you. Now,
Good. It's good to see that you haven't changed, Tamley.
not at all. Now come in. We'll prepare some food and we'll talk old times. And she invites you in.
Let's go.
And around the corner, chomping away on fresh fish, is Sheppy. You've just barely caught out these voices, and you did peer around and see this dwarf appear out of nowhere. What's going through your mind, Sheppy, when this dwarf character, someone you've never met before, makes an appearance?
Sheppy's a little unsure about dwarves. Not exactly kind to Sheppy in the past. So he's being very careful. And he asked Hamley, "Friend? Is this friend?"
Oh, before she steps in. Oh, yes, Sheppy, this is a good friend of mine from years ago. You will like him. And Arthurian, this is Sheppy. He's also a good friend. He runs errands for me here and there as needed, and he does some work around here. He keeps to himself over on the other side of the fishery. But yes, well met. And then she goes,
A goblin.
Ah, dwarf.
yes.
Who are you?
As Tamley said, I'm Arthurian. I've known Tamley for a long time. He was around when I first got my whiskers. They've grown a wee bit since then.
Friend of Tamley. Friend of Sheppy. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
What brings you to Otari?
Right now, searching for work. Most importantly right now, catching up with an old friend.
I as well always find work here. I might be able to help you with that.
I will certainly keep my eyes open there, laddie.
Right. Care for some fish?
No thank you. I believe
He hands
Tamley
you some pills.
might appreciate it, my little far-off friend, laddie, you. But I think Tamley was going to cook us some stew and some nice ale, some home memories there.
More for me then. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Indeed, my little goblin friend.
Awesome. Jesse, give yourself an extra hero point. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And with that, the goblin goes back into his dish. And she turns back to you, Sheppy, and don't forget to mind the plate and bring it in when you're done. She turns to go in and invites you in. At this stage, you come into this big entryway. There's 2 sets of steps to your left and right. This big chamber, it's about 20 by 30. And there's steps that go upstairs. I don't think it reflects it on the picture here, but there is a second floor. Maybe the windows are on the other side, not the front facing the sea. But she informs you that in the upstairs area, they have games. They do all kinds of gaming late at night. Not every night, usually on the weekends or something. And they have all kinds of games of dice and pawns, some RPG action, Pathfinder, and all that other good stuff goes on upstairs late at night. It's not a business. It's just she opens it up for folks to come in and play games and enjoy and relax. And sometimes she brings in food, cooks some fish. You're welcome to join us as well. We'll be doing that later in the week. Not tonight, but tonight is special. I'm going to prepare us a meal right now, Arthurian. And she claps her hands, and one of her workers there comes out with a big white apron. It's kind of stained with oils on it from where they work with the fish. We're going to prepare a meal right now, and we're going to enjoy that. I bet you're hungry and tired. We'll worry about
Very much so.
We'll worry about sleeping arrangements later. I'm sure Sheppy can show you around some of the better taverns. But until then, we got to feed that belly of yours. And she invites you into a much bigger, finer room with rugs, skins on the sides, and decorations on the walls, some books and vases. This is our dining area. You sit down and make yourself comfortable. And we're going to catch up on some old times, my old friend.
What's been going on? I've been hearing a few rumors via the caravan. There's stuff going on in town. What's going on?
Oh, she pauses for a second. Much. In fact, after I had written that letter to you, there was some crazy things that happened here. Somebody broke into the basement of the fishery. It's since been solved. It turns out there was, get this, a dragon underneath Otari. Some heroes, I invited them in to go down and investigate. We kind of kept it hush. We didn't want word getting out that something broke into the fishery. Word has it they slew a dragon. And they were all the rage in town. Of course, Lardis Longsaddle and the mayor investigated shortly after. I really don't know how they found out, but they had it sealed. So now what broke in can't get in anymore. So that was taken care of. Bad tidings get even worse, however.
How so, Tamley? What's going on?
It seems like there's something going on at the Godlight. If you look out the window, you could see it in the distance. Do you see it?
Yeah, that big looking tower.
Yeah, and if you look out there, you can see just in the distance is this great white gauntlet. It's white in the daytime. It's actually kind of nice looking. Different story at night, she affirms. But I don't want to even talk about it. She kind of gets nervous and she pulls her hands close to her. We'll save that for another time. But still, how was your journey? How was it?
It was long. We had quite the scenic route. Even at one point in time, a few goblins decided they were going to try their luck. Did not work out so well for them.
And how is Maravan?
Much has changed.
What do you mean?
Trees aren't growing as quickly as we'd hoped, so lumber business is starting to dwindle. Price of timber's going up and up and up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, getting pretty rough. Seen a lot of mercenary work, or a lot of my fellow guardsmen are turning to other mercenary work due to the simple fact that we can't get enough pay to the caravans to make ends meet.
Bad tidings indeed. And of course, as you relate these stories, Kortos, of course, thrives on the lumber industry. And Maravan, which is about 50 miles as the crow flies to the north, is probably one of the bigger cities for the lumber barons. There's a lot of lumber companies, wealthy companies. And the forest that surrounds it, all up in the north, has been the source of much lumber, which is traded throughout the inner sea. Fresh Kortos lumber. But as of recently, what was a thriving forest, as recently begun to dwindle. It's not growing back as quickly as it used to. Some say it's the erosion of magic. The Aeon Tower, which usually produce this magical energy throughout Kortos. These great pillars which are just all over Kortos. One of them was up there, and with Eridan's demise, the fall of the man-god, magic has diminished throughout the land. And so also, because of that, the Aeon Towers have weakened. And because of that, the forests and their almost unnatural magical growth has dwindled and slowed as the energy is leaving Kortos. That's what some say. But who knows? You know this, of course, Arthurian, as one of the rumors, as does Tamley, who keeps in touch on the lumber industry because it's a big thing here in town. But she tries not to pay too much attention to it. Anyway, your conversation goes on, and you're sharing thoughts. Thoughts of the old days when you shared work at Pier's End, another larger city, a port city, farther to the north, on the other side of Kortos. That's where you spent most of your time. You both sit there at the table, and you laugh, and you slap each other on the back. Good days they were, when you worked at the docks. That was one of the few times that Arthurian saw himself on a ship, in fact. And she laughs at that notion. A dwarf on a ship. Imagine that. And the creatures we slew as we made deliveries of lumber to the mainland. And you go on and on with this conversation. But she welcomes you, Arthurian. She says you're better off here in the south, among friends. There's work. There's the local ruins, which you never know might hold some great host of treasure. You know how you dwarves are with gold. She kind of elbows you. But there's plenty more to do here, instead of fading away in the north.
I quite like it so far. Got quite the warm welcome in town.
Good, that's wonderful. It's about mid-noon at this point. Good lunch, good meal, your belly's full. And she says, well, my friend, if you need a place to stay, you know you're welcome here. You're always welcome here. However, I think it'd be best if Sheppy show you around town. Show you some of the local places and get yourself a feel. I recommend the Rowdy Rockfish. But there's plenty other places too. Come. And she invites you onto the porch.
Would love to visit the town, get to know it. I'm going to be staying here for a while.
Of course. And she steps out onto the porch and she looks over to the right, and sure enough, are you still there, Sheppy? She calls out to you.
Yes, I'm still here.
I'll tell you what. Here's some coins. And she gives you a couple silver. You can add those to your inventory. You go and take our new friend around town. Show him around. Show him the taverns. Make sure he has a good place to stay for the night. He's going to be looking for work. But you show him around. Okay?
Indeed, I will show him the Rowdy Rockfish.
And be good to him. I know how you feel towards dwarves. You be good to him. Show him around and make sure he gets a good place. And there'll be more for you. Reward for you when you get home.
As always, I will do what I can.
Excellent. And with that, she informs you that good old Sheppy will show you around town. Okay?
That's good to me.
Maggie, you found yourself, after getting out of the gauntlet, still on that mission of yours. You found yourself now at the Crook's Nook. There's not many patrons at the moment, maybe a half dozen people in here. It's kind of dark. It's about late afternoon. You're sitting at a table. You're enjoying some food. Tastes pretty good after being in the gauntlet. as long as you have. You promised to keep in touch with these new fellows that you met, the companions, as they like to refer to themselves. They seem to be staying at the Rowdy Rockfish. Maybe you'll drop in later. We'll see. But you have other things to take care of at the moment. And that's work that involves the Crook's Nook. You find yourself alone sitting at the table. Doesn't take long, then suddenly somebody appears and pulls up a seat alongside the table with you. Someone you only know as your contact. Kind of leans in as you sit there eating on your fish and bread and a little bowl of soup. He says to you, "Well, what news do you bring? It's been a while. What did you find out?"
Didn't find out anything of much note, but there were certain creatures planning small invasion of Otari itself.
Creatures? You were in the gauntlet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what about those folks that you're looking for? Any sign of them?
I ran into, not exactly a friendly type. One of them ran out into battle by himself while the rest of us were sleeping. Must have a death wish or something.
Okay. All right, there's 3 individuals who work for the Osprey Club. And they disappeared and haven't been heard from. They went into the gauntlet. And if you recall, when you took this little job, again, you don't know anything about an Osprey Club or what that is. You're relatively new in town. You're just looking for work. Staying at the Crook's Nook. These folks picked up on you pretty quick. Hey, you want some coin? Go on up to that gauntlet and look for some folks for us. They belong to the Osprey Club. You remember, during your little investigation, you had stumbled across a few clues. You saw some evidence of an encampment outside of the gauntlet. You also found a boat, which on its bow in the wood was carved the symbol of the Osprey Club. This you remember because you've seen it before here at the Crook's Nook. It's the bird, the osprey, symbolized, carved into the boat. The symbol of the Osprey Club. You remember that? Shortly after that, you found your way below ground, found a little cave opening underneath the dock outside of the gauntlet. There was a dock there where the camp was in this ruined building. You found this cave going down underground. You followed it down and you come to a pool of water, or perhaps a lake. Who knows? It was small. You found a little dinghy and you started going around, and not long after you encountered these so-called companions that you've just revealed to your contact here. He kind of leans in when you start mentioning these other individuals, the companions. So are these adventurers? Or were they something else, like bandits or something? What were they?
Definitely adventure.
Adventurers?
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, you keep tabs on these so-called adventurers. There might be some extra coin in it for you. Let us know what they find and dig up there at the gauntlet. Although, granted, the gauntlet's pretty much been picked clean all these years. But still, keep your eye on so-called adventurers. You do that for us and let us know how you get along. And there might be some extra coin in it for you. But regardless, you should be off on finding these members of the Osprey Club for us. They're pretty important people, you know. You don't get that done, you're not getting any coin. And he leans back in his chair, kind of eager for you to get to work. Doing your thing.
Look, the thing about working with adventurers is blending into the tapestry that they weave themselves. They wanted to come back here, they beat up because they act very foolishly. I needed to come back along with them. It would only be foolish if I remained there by myself.
Good. Well, you get back to us. There'll be plenty of reward for you. And he pushes the chair back on the bench and he starts to walk away. Now, as I said, there's about a half a dozen people in here. And one of them stands out quite prominently. And it's at this point, as your contact, you don't really know his name, walks away, that your eyes catch sight of this huge mammoth mountain of a man sitting with a couple other patrons at a table not too far from yours. And he's staring right at you. And he's got a smirk. What are you looking at, missy? And he kind of peers at you. What do you do?
I take a deep breath and I go, just keeping an eye on my surroundings. Sorry to disturb you.
And he turns back into his meal and starts laughing and chuckling with the two other folks with him. And you go back to your meal. It's been a long day, Thea. It's after sunset. You've had a long day at work here at the library. You can feel against your chest, you can feel Binley moving around. Every once in a while, he kind of squirms around, getting comfortable, keeping warm. You like to keep him in your pocket, even when you work. It's been a busy day. You've been kind of out of it and kind of distracted. Confused, even. As you organize the books, do your thing. It's not the only thing you do here at the Dawnflower, of course. Every morning, the first thing you do is just before sunrise, you go out onto a balcony behind the shrine to Desna, where there's this open balcony where you can just make out the stars and sometimes the moon as it gives way to the sun and the dawn. And it's that moment you try to scan the stars for Desna's star, the great North Star, the home of Desna, where every traveler can look up and see glowing brightly in the sky and never get lost. This you did, as you do, as a cleric of Desna. And you go through your rituals, and then you get to work, working in the library. Got to make some coins somehow to pay for that little abode. Today was the usual. Today was the same. Although today you felt something different. When you looked up into the stars, you felt empty. You felt abandoned. You felt alone. All your movements and your words seemed almost like there was nothing there, pointless. You seemed confused. You couldn't understand it. And all through the day, as you were working in the library with the books and organizing things, chatting with the other priestesses of the Dawn Flower, Saren Ray, you just couldn't understand these nightmares that have been plaguing you for so long. And again, last night, in the cemetery, being attacked, reliving that moment, a moment that actually happened. This goblin, who you've known of, that's Sheppy. Everybody knows Sheppy in Otari, but you've never spoken to Sheppy. You've always wanted to. He saved you that night, the night that the dead rose, and terrifying. It's plagued you ever since. You always felt like there was something more you can do. But you didn't know what. What was Destina calling to you? What was she wanting you to do? You didn't know. You've analyzed that dream over and over so many times because you've had it so many times ever since the attack. The butterflies, the woods, the cemetery, and the goblin who saved you from certain death. It's then that as you're in the center of the library, opposite the entryway, that you're approached. And there you see Alana Moonglow. Alana, you know her quite well. She's actually a friend. She is your mentor. A human priest. She overlooks Desna's shrine. Among other things, she trains initiates, including yourself. That's where you learned much of your practices involving Desna. You feel her touch on your shoulder, and she says, "My child, what bothers you so much? These several past nights, you seem distracted. Something is wrong. What is it? What plagues you so much?" What do you do? What do you say?
I've had this reoccurring dream. I've been meaning to talk to you about it too, but has Desna actually visited you before? In your dreams, I mean.
Well, of course she has. All of us that are chosen to be her clerics and priests have laid witness to her in dreams, and if not dreams, in the stars at night. She looks at us through the stars. Surely you've seen and encountered Desna, yes?
I have, in many forms, but this, over the past few nights, has plagued me. I feel like she's leading me towards something, and I can't quite grasp what it is. I'm reliving this nightmare.
And perhaps it is our calling as servants of Desna, to travel. It is what we do. Even I've only been here maybe 6 months now, and I will leave soon, and someone will take my place. It is our duty to travel. It is our calling. Perhaps it is yours too, young Thea. Maybe your time has arrived.
I have been waiting quite a while, but I'm afraid. I don't know where I'm going. I just have to follow her guidance.
You should consult the stars. Look to her for guidance. Look to her home star and call upon her. And tell me, do you dream? What do you dream?
I dream of an encounter in the graveyard. Ghoulish figures, horrific skeletons, and
And as soon as
they scratch me. And
she interrupts you and she puts her hand on your shoulder and says, "Wait, stop. You're reliving that attack on Otari again, aren't you?"
I am.
And as she says that, you recall several nights ago, there was a rising of the dead in Otari. It was a big deal. And if it wasn't for a group of adventurers as well as the town guard who closed off the cemetery, who knows what would have happened. But you were wandering about when this attack happened. Although you didn't see how it happened, it's just all of a sudden you were engulfed in it and caught up in it. And you never forgot it. And ever since then, you've been having these nightmares that have plagued you. And as a follower of Desna, as a cleric of Desna, you realize that dreams are the way Desna communicates. She is a goddess of dreams, a goddess of travel, a goddess of adventure, a goddess of many things. But dreams are important, and you know this as a cleric of Desna. So this is really impactful on you. And when you relive this nightmare, you know deep down inside, Desna's trying to communicate with you, but you can't figure it out. You can't figure out how something beautiful like the butterfly, her symbol, could lead you into such a dark circumstance. Yet, and you explain this to Alana, and she says, and yet you need to remember, my child, the end, you were rescued by a nameless goblin. That's how Desna works. Her hand is in everything. And you feel compelled to learn more about the goblin, and also to seek within yourself to see what she really wants you to do. But that's the advice Alana gives you as she comforts you.
I give her a good old hug. Thank you, Alana. You're right. I feel like Desna's telling me not to let this go. That's why I keep having these dreams. I have to pursue this. I feel like the only thing that would give me answers would be this goblin. This goblin I keep seeing.
It could be.
My rescuer.
You need to listen to Desna and her calling. She leads us where she wants us to go. And you need to find out where that is. And she reaches and grabs your shoulder and says, "Now, my child, go home. It's late. You don't work this late normally." And by the judge of Binley, and he's moving around in your upper pocket, moving around, squirming. And by that, I think even Binley knows it's time to go home. You go home, my child, and rest. We will see things are taken care of in the shrine. And if you need time, you take as long as you need. Desna's calling comes above our own. You do what you must.
Thank you. You are as wise as Desna herself.
And she giggles. And with that, you will finish your evening and get yourself around, and you feel a little bit of relief come over you. That someone like Alana notices and cares for you and is giving you good advice as a follower and priest, aspiring priest of Desna. And not long after, you see yourself out. The priestesses of Saren Ray also see you out the main entrance. And it's already about mid-evening, so it's well into the night, which is longer than you usually work and stay. But you make your way off to go home. And as you do, we cut to Sheppy. We cut to Arthurian. Got to get used to the new name. It's getting dark. Sheppy has shown you around so many different places. And you're right at the bridge that crosses the Osprey River in the middle of town. And Sheppy invites you. He says, look, there's a sight to see. There's the Crook's Nook. And just as he says that and you approach it, you begin crossing the bridge. Let me briefly take us to the main Otari map and you can see exactly where we're looking here. As you draw closer, you hear loud laughter and cheerful sounds coming from within, inviting to any dwarf, I'm sure. And right here, if you see where I'm pinging, that is where the Crook's Nook lies, on the top of this bridge. And as you reach the center point, you come to this building, and that is the Crook's Nook. What would you like to do? Sheppy and Arthurian?
Sheppy says, if you enjoy good ale, Crook's Nook is the place to go.
I do enjoy a good ale from time to time, my goblin friend.
As do I.
You drink ale?
I do. Probably more than you.
Oh, you want to bet about that, my little goblin friend?
Let's go.
You're buying the first round. Last man standing wins.
All right.
Or
Luckily,
should I
I'm
say the
no-
last dwarf standing wins?
We shall see, bearded one.
Oh, that's a challenge there. All right,
Yes,
my little
indeed.
goblin fella.
All right.
Okay, you find yourself in a relatively crowded place. There's about at least a dozen people in here. You find a space, a little round table next to some long tables where it's relatively quiet. There's a lot of drinking and a lot of eating going on. You notice to your left this big, burly, bearded guy. He looks like a mountain of a man. If a man could be a dwarf, he would be it. He's stocky. Across a little ways from you, you see a female in all kinds of skins and padded armor, sipping into an ale, and some other patrons here and there. And as soon as you walk in and step in, before you get to that table, you see this other guy at the door. He says, welcome, visitors. Come on in. Come on into the Crook's Nook. Where do you hail from? Looks to you, Arthurian. What do you say?
Top of the evening to you, friend. You're a wee tall feller, almost didn't see you. I hail from Maravon. Probably don't know it.
Maravon. That's that place up north, near the woods. Yeah, I know about that place. There's a lot of wood that comes down from there.
Aye.
Well,
aye,
welcome
indeed.
yourself. You want some drinks? There, we'll pour what you want. Here's the table right for you. And he directs you towards that little round table. Perfect for the two of you. And you have a seat, I assume.
Yes, and bring more ale. We're having a drinking contest.
Drinking
Me and my little
contest,
goblin
indeed.
friend here.
Huzzah! There's a couple patrons.
Bring it on.
There's a couple patrons who cheer alongside you. Drinks on them! And you hear this going on behind you, Maggie. You've been here for a while now, contemplating your next moves and what you're going to do, sipping some fine ale. You're feeling good at the moment. How do you react to this? Maggie, you with us?
Maggie, compared to like the rest of the crowd, this is pretty much like almost like a comedy show for this place, pretty much. So she will like turn around, and like just watch them from her own table, sipping on glasses. She just sees these two pretty much come in as if they're like regular customers and just chuckle to herself as she watches all of this go down.
And Sheppy and Arthurian, you've got drinks coming. Some of them are on the house. Some of them aren't. Like I said, there's about a dozen patrons here. Maybe a few more have trickled in. And some time goes by, and you're having some good conversation and talk and cheer. Was there anything else? What does this look like for everyone else watching the dwarf and the goblin?
Well, people watching this are amazed by how much alcohol Arthurian and Sheppy are just dumping down their throats. It's quite the thing to see.
Yes, and you would see that Arthurian is still armed. He's still wearing his chainmail armor. He's got a rather large for him sword across his back, strapped to his back, covered with a shield. And after he downs a few mugs, he takes his beer and flips it up and uses it as a napkin.
Okay.
Come on there, Sheppy. You're almost ready. Come on. You're almost tied up with me. Come on now.
Okay.
Okay, he takes another drink and says, I'm not done.
And if you want, go ahead and make some constitution rolls. You can each make a public constitution roll. And I'll tell you what the effects of that is. And Magnolia, if you'd like to join in some of the cheer yourself, go ahead and make a constitution roll, because there's a few rounds of drinks that are passed around that are on the house. So if you care to have one of those, feel free to have one. And join in the cheer.
Let me find my thing here.
Yeah, I just rolled a d20, and added my modifier.
Okay.
We know who the light drinker is.
Yeah, we know who the light drinker is.
What's the matter though, Lassie? You can't hold your ale.
Well, no problem. The DC was only 10 for the first few rounds. So, unfortunately, Magnolia, you've probably been here a little longer than usual. So, probably the reason why you failed that. But no worries. The DC gets higher as you play the game, the drinking game. And if you fail more than 3 times, you pass out. But we'll see if that happens or not. Let's do one more round, and another hour goes by where you're playing this little drinking game and having a good time. Again, there's a lot of drinks flowing your way. So if you want to make another drink and another hour passes by, go for it. You can each make another con check. The DC is a little tougher this time. It's 15.
In other words, this is where I start to fail. My dwarven resilience is just not with me.
This is a trained DC. You got to be trained in drinking to pass this one.
I will spend a hero point on that one, Fred.
All right, go for it. It'd only be your first failure. Go
Hero-
for it.
heroically drinking.
All right.
I'm heroically drinking right now. That'd be a 14, so I still failed it.
You still failed, and Magnolia passed it. She's good. She's got one fail under her belt, and Sheppy is he's hanging in there. He's doing the deal. So he's in the lead for the drinking. Now, you're thoroughly into it at this point. You're having a good time, and all of a sudden behind you, standing up, you hear this chair push out from the table. And standing up is this huge mountain of a man. Ha 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 ha! A dwarf and a goblin. And he starts to wander towards your table. And as he does so, you can almost hear the creaking of the wood timbers underneath his feet as they slide forward. So tell me, dwarf, I've been watching you. You seem to be good with the ale. You good with the axe?
Otarian's gonna look up saying, well, that depends. You take one more step, I'm gonna headbutt you in the hips.
Oh, is that right?
Can't you see we're drinking here?
I'm trying to think of my quick one-liners I practiced all day, and I can't think of any of them. I can't. I'm getting tired. Darn it. But anyway, he seems a bit flustered. Maybe he's been doing a little drinking too. And he has. You can believe it. Well, you know what they say about dwarves. They make good gardeners. That's what I hear. You a gardener, dwarf?
Well, I mean, that depends. I mean, I've laid quite a few big men to rest, if that's what you're really thinking.
Huh. What are you doing with a goblin? One of these filthy goblins here. And he looks down at you, Sheppy. What do you think of that?
Sheppy doesn't like this guy. Sheppy says this guy's bad.
Otarian's
Be
gonna
careful.
stand up
Uh-oh.
with mug in hand.
Mug in hand. And he kind of watches you stand up for your short height, which isn't much to him. And he laughs. I gotta love dwarves. What are you thinking of doing, dwarf? You got something on your mind?
That depends. You keep running your mouth, I'm gonna shove this mug in it.
All of a sudden, somebody from the main bar steps forward. And wait a minute, we don't want trouble. Now listen to us, Brolo. You start troubling here again, the boss isn't going to be happy. You better lay off. You want to make trouble with the dwarf here. You take it outside. He pauses, crosses his arms, and he looks down at you, dwarf, Arthurian. What do you say? You want to take this outside? Or are you a coward? Like your people?
Oh, now you've done it. Outside with you, you big hunk of lump. Let's go.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the end of the drinking game. Magnolia, now the whole while you've been here, you haven't been taking kindly to this big guy either. He's been kind of eyeing you, looking at you and smirking. What do you do now that you see there's something going on, something going down?
Mm.
They're heading outside.
Yeah, as they begin heading outside, Magnolia would like to attempt to, like, trip Brolo, I believe his name is. Brolo's, like, feet. Give him a
Brolo.
little- Yeah. Like, see if he catches on, or,
What are you trying to do?
like, trip him up, stick my feet out in front.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's too far away. You're on the
Oh,
other
wow.
side of the room, but you pretty much have a choice here. They're going outside. They're they're throwing down some fists. That's what it's looking like. If you'd like to go out and watch or join them, you're free to do so because just about everybody in here is following them.
Yeah, well, I'd follow them in that case.
All right. They
Nobody
cut.
talks to my goblin that way. Come on.
And what are you doing, Sheppy?
He's fallen behind Arthurian.
All right. So the three of you and the whole building, except for the people that work there, are all heading out. You cross the bridge and get to the opposite side of the bridge, on the other side of the Osprey River, which is the direction you guys were going anyway, the side where the Rowdy Rockfish is. But you follow this little alleyway down the back, and there's all these barrels and it's somewhat lit up. And they're waiting for you. Magnolia, you'd probably be in the back here. You'd be in the rear. Wouldn't really be with them. Sheppy and Arthurian, you can see yourself. You're right at the mouth of this back alley. There's some lighting going on, as you can see. There's a light on the far side of it near Brolo where you can see him. You also see some of these other patrons who've gathered around, and some of them look like the friends of Brolo. But they're all kind of keeping distant. Now, at this point, you guys can go ahead and move yourself forward if you want to enter this little arena. Go ahead and position yourselves and get a good look around you and see what's going on. I'll let you do that. The game is unpaused, so go ahead and move yourself about 10, 15 feet. Don't go crazy. All right. Sheppy, where are you?
I'm staying back.
Okay. Well, come on, dwarf. And he's unarmed. Some of the others gathered around do have little sticks and rocks. You know, they're kind of looking a little bit fearful. There's one guy behind you, Sheppy, who seems to come out of the shadows. And he's right there behind you. Kind of just watching from the distance from where you are. And with that, you guys can roll initiative. Let me put you in the tracker. And we'll see what's going down here. Now, this is Arthurian. You're the only one who actually is going to be in this. But there you are. You feel free to roll your initiative. See who gets the jump on the other from where you're currently positioned. And you'd be using perception. Okay. Well, come on, dwarf. And he begins marching towards you. He gets right about there, and he kind of holds back, like he's waiting for something. Sheppy, you see what's going down. You see the Brolo starting to advance on Arthurian, who's still hanging back a little bit next to some boxes. You can just make them out. What are you doing? This one guy come out of the shadows. He's right behind you. He looks like a patron from earlier in the evening. He kind of looks down at you and then looks back at the fight. Come on, Goblin, why don't you move up there and fight? What do you do?
I'm going to hold my position, hold my actions, and wait to see what my companions do before I make an action.
You have a choice. You can delay, which moves you in the initiative order of your choice whenever you want. Whenever you want to jump in, you can take that initiative order.
I'll delay.
All right, I'll make you invisible then on the tracker. Whenever you want to jump in, I believe you get your 3 actions, right, Rachel?
Yeah, you get your 3 actions back.
Okay. You just can't make a reaction. All right, I'll make you invisible on the tracker. When you're ready to jump in, I'll move you in an order.
That's done at the end of someone's turn or at the beginning?
You say when you want to jump in. At that point, you jump in right after the person that took action. So when they finish, that becomes where you take your actions. All right.
And don't forget to do it before the round's over.
Yeah.
Because then you lose it.
All right. Sheppy's delaying. Next. This guy kind of moves over here around the building. You see some movement here. Arthurian, you're up. You have 3 actions. Now you got your weapons on you and all this stuff, but he's not coming at you with any weapons. This is a straight up fist fight. Come on, dwarf. What do you do?
Yeah, Arthurian has his weapons, but he's not using them. I'm standing by these crates over here, Freds.
Okay. You gonna ready in action?
No, is there something in the crates? Is there...
All right,
How heavy would these crates be to pick up and throw at him?
All right, go ahead and Go ahead. This will be an action, but I'm going to let you I'm not going to require a check for this because if you want, you could just reach over next to you and push these crates back and forth to see how light or how heavy they are. That'll take an action.
Okay.
And they're solid. They're pretty heavy. They don't budge. You can just barely push them. They're not empty. All right, you have 2 actions.
Oh, my. I guess I'm going to move forward and smack him one.
As soon as you step forward in range, he hauls off. He readied his action. And he's going to make an unarmed fist attack against you. Let me see. And your armor class is 19. He wails into you with the left and then a right across the jaw. You're going to take some damage. This is going to be non-lethal. You're going to take 7 points of bludgeoning damage as he gives you a nice solid right cross across the jaw. Non-lethal. You take a hit. All right, now you get your next action. Your last action.
I'm going to retaliate and punch him right in the kneecaps.
All right. Go for it.
16.
16 is a miss. He easily blocks your strike with a hefty arm that feels like a tree trunk when you slam into it. You're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Next.
All right, I'm going to project myself into the order here after Arthurian.
Okay, I'll put you in there. Let me move you.
And I'm going to...
You probably should say that right first, but I'll
All
put
right.
you. I'll put you where you want, so he can finish his actions, and then you'd be put in. Because technically, you just said I'm going to interject here. That means you're going to go after whoever's next.
Gotcha.
But I'll put you in after Arthurian, okay?
All right.
And I might be wrong anyway. That's my call. There you are. You're in there. What would you like to do? Let me back up.
For my first action, I will cast Reach,
All right.
and then I will cast Grease.
Ah, the good old grease spell. This is a messy spell.
I'm going to cast it on Brolo's square.
All right, hold on. You conjure grease with effects based on choosing area or target. Now you're choosing an area?
Yep.
Okay. Area. 4 contiguous 5-foot squares. All solid ground in the area is covered with grease. Each creature standing on the greasy surface must succeed at a reflex save or an acrobatics check against your spell DC or fall prone immediately. Creatures using an action to move onto the grease. Well, we'll read that when we get to it. First of all, let me put down a little square. You don't want to include.
Arthurian.
Yeah, so let me draw this like that because I can move it. Is that good?
That works.
All right. We'll leave that in play. Now he's immediately got to make a reflex save.
DC 18.
And I'll show you what that result is because it's fun. All right, so that's the end of that. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I'll keep this square here. So creatures using an action to move onto the greasy surface during the spell's duration must attempt either a reflex save or an acrobatics check to balance themselves. A creature that steps or crawls doesn't have to attempt a check or save. A step, of course, is a 5-foot move. It also says if you move onto one. It doesn't say if you move off of it. So technically, Brolo could move off of that into an empty square and not have to make a check. So we're all clear? All right, that was how many actions to do?
That was 3.
Oh. All right, you're done. Next. There's some movement around some of these patrons. And Magnolia, you see it unfolding before you. Can you see? There you can. You see this unfolding before you. I'll keep track of the time on that spell for you. 1 minute. So that's 10 rounds. I don't think this combat will last 10 rounds. So you're hanging back and you're watching these fists fly between this big mountain of a man, Brolo, he goes by, going against this much squattier dwarf. They're going tooth and nail. And so far, it seems like the dwarf is getting the bad end of the stick. You can do all kinds of things here. You can try and recall knowledge on patrons. You could maneuver yourself around. You could take a look at the terrain if you intend to jump in or not. Size up your opponent.
I would like to. I'm going to begin moving closer
Go ahead.
to fight.
You can move through their squares. There's no, just don't move through Barillo. Or Brolo.
Yeah.
Barillo. And watch the messy spots. Black gook. Ugh. Okay? Don't overthink it. Just, keep it moving.
Just gonna. Cheer from the side, pretty much.
Cheer from the side?
Yeah, I'll be cheering. It'll be.
All right. What does that sound like?
Oh yeah.
Kick his ass.
Yeah, show this dickhead who's boss. Dwarf guy, kick his teeth in.
Yeah, PG-13. Give yourself a hero point, Magnolia. You've been good tonight. You've been very behaved. Get a hero point for that. All right, your turn will be done. We're going to go to the big guy himself. He sees this gook just suddenly appear around. What is this, magic? Who's casting magic? He takes pause. He's going to lose an action for that. And with that, he's going to step out of the gook right here to the side. And then he's going to wail into the dwarf one more time. With a clubbing fist. And he nails you. And it was a brutal hit. It's still normal damage. Arthurian, you're going to take a nice solid non-lethal damage equal to 9 points of bludgeoning as he hits you hard with an elbow and then a left cross. Next, this guy in the back here. He's going to step forward up to this point here. And as he gets right adjacent to you, Sheppy, he says, "Hey, you casted magic. I heard you doing some kind of chitter-chat with your lips, Goblin. What did you do?"
Wasn't me.
Was it you?
me.
It sure was you.
No, it's this guy behind me. I saw him do it.
And he's keeping an eye on you, but he doesn't do anything else.
Sheppy is quite the liar, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to care as he's gripping a big stick in his hand. But he's not attacking. Arthurian, you're up. You just took a few blows across the head. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna kick him in the shins.
All right, another kick in the shins. Be wary of that goo that just appeared. You're not sure what that is, but it's clearly seen. And Brolo just stepped out of it. You got a nice 20, and that's going to be a miss.
Okay.
A critical miss.
He missed.
Hmm.
With a 20.
Right. I'm gonna try to grapple him.
Now we're talking. That's the old Dane I remember.
Yep. Fail with a headbutt to the hips. We're gonna see if I can take him out at the knees.
Is this grapple?
Yep.
Go for it. Athletics with the attack trait.
Now that's a nat 20.
There you go, 26. That's going to be a hit, and a 20 makes it a critical. So let's see what it says for grapple with critical success. Your opponent is restrained until the end of your next turn, unless you move or your opponent escapes. So I imagine you just grabbed him around the. How does this look? Because you restrained him. He's not grappled. He's restrained. This guy
Right.
can't do anything but escape.
Okay. Arthurian is gonna jump forward and shoulder block, shoulder charge right into this guy's kneecap, knocking him down. And once he's knocked down, Arthurian's gonna put him in a nice headlock. Come here, you scrummy little fudge face, you. Let's cut you down to size there, didn't I, Letty? See, that's why you don't pick a fight with a dwarf, because we're smaller than you people. And Arthurian is just giving a lecture to him all the same time.
Restrained. All right, you're tied up so you can barely move.
Since I have him in the headlock
Or
with both hands, I'm going to give him a headbutt for good measure.
all right, go for it. I'll read this after your attack.
Just because he made this dwarf is now angry. Be a 22, Fritz.
22 is a. Well, he's also flat-footed. So that's a success, a normal success.
Gonna take a big crisp 3 damage as a headbutting right across the snozzola.
Anyway, back to the restrained. You have the flat-footed and immobilized conditions, and you can't use any action with the attack or manipulate traits except attempt to escape or force open your bonds. So you pretty much know what he's going to do. He's going to try and escape. Somebody look that up for me. Escape. So that I don't have to do it and I can move on here. Very good, Arthurian. That paid off. All right, you're done, so yeah. Next is Sheppy.
Yeah, he's getting nervous with these guys around up here. One action.
Okay. Anything else?
That was one action. The next action, I will put some more grease down.
Is that
I'm going to put it
Oh.
right in those 4 squares between me and the other 2 guys.
All right, you can do that, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2-action spell.
Right here. Blink, right?
Yep.
All right, so you moved up there, turned around, and laid down another gook of grease all over the floor here in the back. Not the floor, but the ground right here in the back. And this guy here, he sees this and he steps back. He's casting magic! This ain't a fair fight now! Yeah, he said that out of turn. That's okay. Hit a reaction. All right, you're done. Moving on. This guy says, he moves over here and takes a look at the ground next to Sheppy. They got a wizard! And he's going to haul off and He's gonna pull out a club after his stride, and he's gonna wail into you, Goblin. You're cheating now. They suspected magic. You are hit with this club strike. You're gonna take some damage. And thwomp! You're gonna take 10 points of bludgeoning damage as this club just wails you over the back of the head. Ugh!
He's using weapons. Weapons.
And then he's done. And then we're going to go to the next one here, which is Magnolia. You're seeing some commotion behind you, Magnolia. You're right next to Arthurian and the other. You're almost getting pulled into the combat, in fact. But there's some commotion over to your left with the goblin you saw earlier. Did you say you're pulling out that freaking great pick? I thought you threw it in the fire.
No. What I am going to do actually is
Coercing? Oh, wait a minute. It's exploration. You can't use it in combat. So we'll treat this as a demoralization or a demoralize, which takes an action.
okay.
And that failed. As far as you know. All right. So that was an action. You're done. Or is there anything?
The last thing I'm going to do is seeing that I'm ready for next time.
Okay. All right. At this point, things are getting a little bit chaotic. There's things going on. There's grease appearing and a mumbling goblin. There's threats being passed back and forth between those involved, and there's actually a little extra violence. I mean, the goblin got clunked over the head. That's when this guy comes out of the darkness above. Let me reveal him on the map as well as on the tracker. Right. Oh, wait a minute. He didn't roll his initiative. Huh. But he is next. We're at the top of the next round. This guy appears. Where is he? There he is. He's going to move all the way down to here. Everybody! The guards are coming! We better run! And he starts heading off in this direction and out of sight. So anyone on the map that saw him appear and scream that, he just disappeared. Thea? You're on the way home. It's late at night. Tired. Poor Binley's nudging around in your upper shirt pocket. I don't know why I keep mentioning that, but he is. He's in there. He's squirming. He wants to go home. You hear a commotion. And it's right on your side, not far from your home. Mute yourself. And what do? It sounds like there's some kind of excitement up ahead, and you kind of have to pass that way to get to your home. Optionally, you could take a long way around and avoid the whole situation.
He takes a peek around the corner. She's just curious what's going on.
You are now on the map. And you just catch sight. Now go ahead and roll your perception for initiative. You have now entered the fray. I'm going to give you one action, however, when you do come up. Not 3. Where are you? There's so many people. Oh, there you are.
There is a lot of people.
Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. At this point, we're at we're in chaos. There's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of people with clubs, not just Arthurian and Brillo Pad going at it. Now Althea joins the fray. Now everybody stand back. All right, with that, we're going to go to Brolo. Brolo. I'm going to make a check for him to see if he makes the mistake of stepping into some goo, because it's possible. There's a lot of chaos here, as I said. But it's just slight. No, he avoids it. And he's going to maneuver himself. Now, you are a fighter. Oh, wait a minute. You're holding him down.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I have
Scratch
him
that.
restrained.
Darn it. You're laying there in the goo then. It's getting on you. He's going to attempt to escape. Now, what is that?
Your unarmored strike DC against my athletics DC.
Okay, what's the DC?
My DC is 16.
All right, he blew by that one with a 23. He pulls himself free. I see we weren't prone, but you were holding on him for a brief moment there. He's broken himself free, and that was an action. And now he's going to clobber you. Stupid dwarf! This would... No, wait a minute. 8, 9, 10, 11. -4 to this. This would be his second attack. I think escape has the attack trait.
It does.
Yeah, because you're using your unarmored.
All right, he's... all right. Let's check your armor class. All right, it's not a critical. It is a hit with this big ham fist. Lays into the back of your head. More non-lethal damage. 7 points of bludgeoning. And with that, let's see, an escape. Yeah, he's going to move with a 5-foot step here. And in his rage, I'm going to make another oracle check here. No. He's going to lay into you once again. He's focused on the dwarf. I thought he might have been a little distracted. But no. He's going to do his third attack. And that one fails miserably. He was distracted. And next, we got this guy down here. Sheppy put a little blocker there. Let me see, is there a wall here? Can he get around there? That's going to be what I call a hard corner, so he can't move diagonal to get to that square right there. So he's going to attempt it. He's going to attempt to make that check and move in on the goblins. He's got a stick in his hand. He is ticked off. Now he's to make a reflex save against what? 18? He aced that with critical success. I don't know if that means anything special, but he's going to try it again. And that'll be another reflex save. This is all one move. That, I think he failed. He slips and falls prone. Took him a while to impact, but he did so. What am I looking for? Prone? Prone. There you are. All right, he falls prone, so he's done. Which means he drops his stick. Or no, he doesn't drop his stick. That's if you're dying. Arthurian, you're up. You're taking a beating up here. This big ham-headed man is clobbering you. What are you going to do? Chaos all over.
Clobber him back.
He's going to clobber him back. Go ahead.
And I'm so drunk enough that I can't even feel this. I won't feel this till in the morning. You're gonna feel this now. That'll be a 27 on the first hit, Mr. Fritz, man.
Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. Calm down. All right, you hit. It's not critical, but you do hit. Go ahead and make some normal damage.
4 points of damage.
A little sausage finger fist slams him in the guts. Ugh, 4 points of bludgeoning damage. Ugh.
Right, and then we're gonna go back to the move that got us to the dance. Fritz's favorite maneuver. Actually, I'm gonna break out and do something different. I'm going to use. Oh, let's see here. Intimidating strike.
Your blow not only wounds creatures, but also shatters their self-confidence. Make a melee strike. If you hit and deal damage, the target is frightened 1 or frightened 2 on a critical. Whoa.
23.
You hit normal damage, and he's going to be frightened 1. Wow. Good job.
Points of damage. And this is why you never cross a dwarf. I'll beat your kneecaps off.
All right, let me find frightened 1. Right there, boom. And what do you take? 6 points of bludgeoning?
Yep.
Nice. Nice one, Kyle. Creative combats. Is that it, or are you done?
That's it. That took 2 actions to do.
All right, as you do this and you nail into this guy and you're getting profanities going, you're really shaking this guy in his boots at this point. You start to hear footsteps, and a lot of them. Buckled boots are coming in close. It sounds like from the top of the map, the north. You also see torches coming from that direction. Sheppy, you're up. You have this guy falling prone in your grease. You tricked him to come at you and it worked. You also took a good rapping over the head by the guy behind you. What do you do? Kathunk. Come on, Sheppy. You're muted.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right. Sheppy says, Dwarf, we must leave. That is the town watch coming. They will throw us in jail. We must get out of here.
All right, that's one action. That's a little bit longer than a sentence. So I count that as an action. No, wait a minute. Is that a corner there you can't move through? Escape there to the side. Now what? That was 2 actions.
I will try to intimidate the guy that's on the ground.
Okay. Demoralize?
Yep.
All right,
I'm
go
going to
for
say,
it.
if you stand up, you will be burned to death.
All right. Go ahead and make a demoralize attempt against his will DC.
Is that intimidation?
Yes. It's going to be a blind roll. That should have been blind.
All right.
You're actually good at this, so make another one. Make it blind. Actually,
Shift click isn't
that's kind of
working.
that's kind of an obvious resulted thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would say.
It doesn't say secret in the description either, so actually let's keep the 22. Because you would know right away if he was demoralized or not. It's not something that would not be obvious. Although it could be. But it doesn't have the secret trait. All right, so you got a 22. That is enough to shake this guy in his boots. It's not critical success. You get a success, which is the target becomes frightened 1. So not only is he lying on his back, You shaking him. He says, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here anymore. And he starts slipping and sliding in the goo. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, where did he go? He follows after you. Come back here. Yeah. Let's see, that's 10 feet. That's 15.
That's an attack of opportunity if they or Arthurian wants it. If he moves.
Yeah, he could.
I will take it.
That's 35 feet. That'll be 2 of his actions, but go ahead and take that. You turn around just as you're getting wailed.
13. I just felt some movement, just swung wild.
That is a total miss. And he makes his way to the goblin. He has one more action. He's going to use that club on you for another good thwack. And he hits you critically. Oh, you're in the middle of this intimidating mouthing going off. He cuts you off in mid-sentence and thwack! You get it right across the bridge of the nose. 8 points of bludgeoning damage come down hard on you. Oh, what's this? Brutal beating. Oh, I got a critical. You become frightened 1. And I could knock the target up to 10 feet away. It's forced movement. Well, I'm not going to do that. But you're frightened 1. So give yourself frightened 1. So this was particularly demoralizing to you. Take that. And just as that happens, you hear the boots getting louder and louder. You hear voices off in the distance. This guy's Bolton. He's smart enough not to go into the slime. Disappears out of sight. You hear a commotion ahead. Althea.
Hello? Is everything all right over there? She's trying to get the attention of the gentleman, that the only one she can see.
If you want to move to a better position, you can do so.
She'd probably stay back, in all honesty. She would shout to him to get his attention.
All right, what are you shouting?
Is everything okay over there? I heard some noises and I'm trying to get through.
Okay. Yeah, you're hearing. You're hearing a lot of noise and fists flying. You're hearing the cracking of sticks on skulls. It sounds like some brute violence lies up ahead. Now, mind you, you don't have to go to the north to get home. This is actually, you would actually be passing to the west. So you could actually just leave this whole area and walk past it, but you can't help but walk past it. That's the thing. Let me see on the map where this is. Yeah, the exit is kind of locked off with those little gooey things, but you could avoid all that. Just so you know. So you're not making your presence known?
She is. Just
Okay.
with the guy right across the way. And if he doesn't get if she doesn't get a response from him, then she plans to walk away. Avoid things as much as possible.
You gonna? All right. You want to use it? No. All right. We'll leave that because you already used an action. I only gave you 1 this round, so you're done. All right, Magnolia, you're up. Chaos.
Well, First things first.
Yes.
I'm gonna rage.
Okay.
So
You got it? You could drag that little rage effect. Yeah, you got it. Magnolia Raiju now has 5 temporary hit points from rage. If you need to take a break, Rachel, go for it now. It'll be a while before we get back around to you.
Yeah, I'll actually be right back in a minute.
All right.
I'm going to take my great pick.
I hate that thing. Go ahead. It's good for one thing, making threats. That's about it.
Speed. So I'm going to
There you go. The old zigzag. Clink, 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 clink. All right, so he's flanked for combat purposes. Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much just walk up behind him, crack my knuckles, and go, "You messed up, friend. Pick on someone your own size."
Nice one.
And I'm gonna swing at him with a great point.
Ooh, this is lethal damage. Now, if you want to use it non-lethally, you're going to take a -4 circumstance, but it'll be non-lethal. I don't know if that's a mental thing or what, because you're in a rage right now. I'm very tempted to say, no, I don't care.
Definitely mental.
I don't think Magnolia, but he...
Yeah, all right, we're in agreement. Go for it then. Well, there goes Magnolia, up on murder charges.
Didn't have it. That's why.
You failed. Ouch. Double 1. That's what I call an 11. Now you missed with that.
I'm gonna use
Hero point.
here.
All right, go for it. Here we go. Here it is. Does he hit? No.
Oh,
What is happening? Ouch, that hurt me. That was so brutal.
You
All
have my rolls tonight. What the hell is this?
It's that great pick.
It's cursed. Maybe it is. All right, now your turn is over. Now at this point, as we go into round 3, let me do a little cleanup here on my map to lessen the tokens. Got too many of these little things on here. And I want to bring in some more tokens. And I think you guys might know what this is when you eventually see them. Okay, let me close that. Of course, I won't add them to the tracker yet. Actually, I will. There we go. So they're in the tracker. Let's roll those. Okay, we're going into round 3. Brolo's up next. Let's see what he's got.
We are so
going
totally
on.
getting arrested right now.
He's no longer
Yeah, it's kind of looking
restrained.
that way.
Frightened 1. When do you lose frightened? It's at the end of your next turn, right? I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes down by 1. All right, so he's subject to it then at this point. He's going to be penalized. Let's see. Everybody's running. The cops are coming. The town guard. And he's currently engaged with this dwarf. He's not stupid. But he's going to take a 5-foot step. And he's going to get around here. And then he's going to lay into this dwarf.
That's an attack of opportunity.
No, it's a 5-foot
move.
step.
Yeah, it's a 5-foot step. I can't hit him because he didn't move any further than 5 feet.
I gotcha.
And then he attacks horribly. You can ignore I did that. But then he breaks. Now you can make your attack of opportunity.
Thank you, my good man. 23.
23 is a hit. You hit him. One of those dwarf hams. 3 points.
He caught these stubby little arms right in the face.
All right, and then he ends his movement. Just then at the top, you see them. What's going on here? You see torches. As this one Otari town guard appears above. He's just standing there, just short of the messy stuff. Not sure if he notices it or not. This guy, he's going to crawl into this space. And then he's going to stand up. And there's no room here to get through. But he's going to barrel his way through and off the map. He's running for it. He's going to have to make an acrobatics check to get past the dwarf or the
Barbarian.
No. Yeah. Ah, jeez. There's a barbarian. Well, he can go around. Pass through this square and then into this square and then your square. So you're the one he has to test against. What's your reflex DC?
That would be
10 plus your reflex modifier.
11.
11? Oh, he easily breezes past you. You almost get knocked over. And he disappears from our little map. Whoops. Let me go back to that guy. Up at the top, you hear another voice. As more town guards seem to be arriving. And he seems to stop at the sludge as well. Not sure if he knows it or not. We'll see, but they stop up above. What's going on here? And he's looking right at you. Arthurian. You're all going to be taken in. Throw down your arms. Stop this. He's basically just shouting. Arthurian, you're up next. You hear lots and lots of feet up where the guards are and lots of torches coming your way. Everybody seems to be making a run for it. Although it seems to be getting kind of clustered where you are. You hear more guards to the west. They seem to be all around, in fact. What do? 3 actions. I'll just have to take a risk.
Okay. In one action, Arthurian's going to remove his hand and a half sword and drop it by his feet. And then second action, he's going to hold up his hands. I'm Arthurian Drakebane, defending in honor of a goblin. I surrender.
You're showing submission. I'll take you out of the tracker. Next is Sheppy. You don't know any of this is going on, really.
Yeah.
You just had a guy
Chippy says,
run right past you.
sorry, dwarf, but
Hold on, let me
the
finish.
authorities don't get along with me.
Before you take any actions, I will say that you see up ahead, coming down the alleyway, you see more torches. And it sounds like that guy that ran past you, he sounds like he's been apprehended.
Oh,
That's what it sounds like. You're not sure. Could be wrong. But you get the sense that there's more guards coming down that alley that you're currently facing. Now take your turn. You're frightened one, by the way. Let me get rid of this frightened here for this guy.
all right. He's going to throw up his hands. He's going to surrender too. I'm the goblin. He was only trying to protect me.
All right, you don't see anybody to surrender to, but you're welcome.
I heard him.
Okay,
I'll assume.
you can remove your... I'll do it for you. You're frightened. Okay. Next, we see this guy. Let me get rid of his flat-footed. He's going to cut a corner here. Make a reflex save to see if he falls into the goop. Is to beat an 18. He does it with finesse. He hops over that little corner while holding on to the wall. Shoot, and lands on the other side. Everybody run! The gig's up. They're after us. And he gets to right about here. And he spots you. You spot him, Althea. Run! Do you want to stop him from passing through your square? Actually, I don't think you can. You're small. He's one size bigger.
Nope, she presses her back against the wall, lets him go right on by.
And he does so, and out of sight.
Real quick, Fitz.
Yep.
When he was running past me, did he provoke an attack of opportunity for me?
From
Was
you?
he right next to me?
You're a barbarian, right? You don't have that, do you?
I don't know.
Fighters do.
Let me double check.
Unless you took it as some kind of feat. You don't have that.
I do have an ability called No Escape, but that's not the same as an attack of opportunity. That just allows me to essentially follow them as they try and flee.
You want to follow?
No.
Okay. Let's all just surrender. You're out of it. You're a rage machine at the moment. And all right, who's next? Where is this guy? I guess it's this guy. Yeah, it's him. Another guy appears and stops just short of that little slimy area. Not sure if he notices it or not. Stop this! Stop this at once! And then he moves up alongside the dwarf. He's got a big hefty club in his hand. He grabs hold of your shoulder. Arthurian. I keep wanting to call you Artemis for some reason. Yeah, I'll call you Artemis from now on. And next is Althea. You see this hoodlum. It's the best way to describe him. He pushed past you. He squished you against the wall. Your hand reaches up to your pocket to make sure Binley isn't hurt. And he just disappears down the alley from whence you came. What do you do? I just noticed this one guy hasn't taken one action the whole combat. He's just standing there. He's just watching. Old self-centered.
He goes in to get a better look. Oh, technically that was only 20. There we go. Does she see the has Arthurian been apprehended? I know he has his arms up, but are there guards by him?
Yep, there's a guard that's, well, kind of touching him, not necessarily grabbing him at the moment. He could escape. Let's put it that way. He's right next to him. I don't think you can see that guard from where you are. No. Yeah, there's one right next to him, to his right. Actually, why am I telling you that?
I don't catch. Well, I don't see him. Thanks for the info, though.
You're welcome. Thanks.
She asks, self-centered, "What happened here? Is everybody okay?"
And he kind of pauses, and then he looks down and sees you. Oh, you startled me. There was some kind of fight up here. Mind yourself. Be careful. These hoodlums are out there. They're all swinging with clubs. It got out of control. Now the sit-down guard are here. In fact, I think I'm going to get out of here. They put me in the initiative tracker. Right? God. You have 2 more actions, or I'll give you 1 more action. Because you asked this guy some stuff. Even though it was... Now you can have your 2 actions. You haven't had much anyway. 2 actions.
So just move up a little bit more.
All right. Since you're not paying
And then that's
attention,
it.
if you... Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that.
She can't quite see anything or what's going on, but she's a little nervous about crossing this grease that just... She's debating on turning around now.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious to see. No perception check required. You do see it. Especially when you're not confused by all that's going on. So you're being somewhat cautious. All right. Let me see if there's anything else to reveal. No, you've never seen the dwarf before. You do recognize the uniforms ahead of the town guard. You do recognize that. Everybody else is kind of concealed in the shadows. You can't really make them out. However, I'll tell you what, since you are paying attention, this is going to be a tough one. But go ahead and make a blind perception roll as you peer around. It's basically a seek action. I'm giving this to you. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. This would be like an emanation. Do notice to the left. In fact, it's more the voice. But as you're drawn to the sound of the voice, you look and can just make out someone about your size. You'd swear it was that Sheppy, who you've seen before. You've just never spoken to him. Well, you did on that one night. But you recognize him. And he's right over here. Just in sight. And with that, we're going to go to Magnolia. You're raging. You're in a blind rage. And right next to you, as you turn around, is Brolo. He's too big to fit through all those bodies, and he's thinking twice about heading down that direction. The direction where the goblin is. He's thinking about maybe going a different direction. He don't want to get caught. Looking back and forth. What do you do?
I watched one guy who was next to me run away and his his catch. Brolo. Small. Just swing into him with my crate.
You gonna attack him?
Yeah.
All right, go for it. $14 is going to be a miss.
This is going to be all 3 of my turn actions. Just attacking him.
Okay. You're just going at it with this pick. Rah! Screaming for was a miss. He's having a horrible time tonight.
Yeah.
Telling you, that pick.
Or again.
Double 4. I'm tempted to give him another hero point, just to see if he gets another 4. 3 in a row. Okay. Okay, well, that ends your turn. You're just...
He's just in a blind rage,
Yep.
swinging this dude uncontrollably.
Yeah, it's almost as if this rage you're in right now is just something you've never experienced before. You are seething, and you're flying left and right with that pick. I mean, even the goblin is thinking twice of getting close to you. But yeah, we're gonna go into round 4. Brolo. This frightened is gone. Let's see. I don't want none of this. We're all going to jail for this. I'm out of here. He steps to that corner. Now, this is a hard corner, so he's not going to be able to go diagonal. He's going to have to step into the goo. And with that,
DC 18.
he's got to beat at 18 to see if he's slipping fallsies. And he's slipping fallsies. He is prone. He's going to spend his second action standing up and then move out of it for his third action. So he'll get out of this. He wasted an action, basically. He's right in front of you, Althea. You don't have any actions, but there's 5 feet, 10, 15, 20, 25, 25. That would be 25 right there. And that would end his movement. There he is. That's it. I'm out of here. So yes, you're in that slime. All right, next, there's some action up above. One of the guards. Let's see, right there's 20, 25. And he advances with a torch in hand right up to this position for a second. Come on, move. Aren't you gonna move? There he is. And now he's looking down, using the seek action to see if anyone's hiding. Everybody, throw down your arms. You're all under arrest. Break this up at once, he shouts. All right, Sheppy, you are up. You hear more footsteps coming from behind you, as well as ahead of you. To the north. But you don't see anyone approaching from... where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
He moves to this point and throws up his hands and says, I surrender.
Okay. I'm going to take you out of the combat then. You are out of the initiative. Timid should be next. Alright, timid. Even though it's not going to him, I must be getting out of sync here. Let me back up. Come forward to timid. There he is. There's timid. Alright, what is he going to do? Alright. He's got his hand on your shoulder, Arthurian, making sure you don't go anywhere.
Yep, I fully surrender.
All right, Althea, you're up next. Standing in the shadows you are. Actually, there's one guard that can see you clear as day right in front of you, 15 feet away.
He calls out, I'm assuming she knows Sheppy's name, because you said she knows him from around town.
You
Would she
recognize him. That is Sheppy.
recognize
Yes.
the...
You recognize both the town guard and you recognize Sheppy. That's him. Your
In
hero.
almost a hushed tone, she says, Sheppy, is that you? What are you doing here? Why are you involved in all this? And she's kind of getting curious. She can walk over to him, right?
Yeah.
Without having to step in the grease.
You can make a 5-foot step and you won't have to make the check.
Oh, well, technically it would have been diagonal, so there we go.
There you go. You have one more action. Now let me explain. Currently, there's town guard arriving. They're all over the place. There's maybe 3-4 times as many of them that I'm not putting on the map for obvious reasons. All right? They're right there. To your left, Althea, you see two people, one of which you've never seen before. That would be Maggie. And the goblin, which you do recognize as you stand there in the sludge. You've seen all these people dispersing and running past you. Now at this stage, this is trouble. You know what's going on. You've seen this stuff in your neighborhood before. Brawls are not uncommon, and usually the town guard comes in and breaks it up, wraps a few heads, takes some people in just to make examples of them. It's not a good sight. Now, your home lies to the west, off the map. You could get there by going the direction Sheppy is standing, going down that corridor. Just leave. I'm out of here. I'm done with this. Or head south from whence you came and take a detour. You can get to your house that way. That'll be a little longer route. Or you can stay and see what transpires. But you know in the back of your head that this is bad news. Nothing you would normally want to be part of. Although this is an unusual circumstance. Sheppy. You don't recognize anyone else. They're all strangers. So with your last action, what would you like to do?
Well, knowing what I know now, she says, Quick, Sheppy, follow me! In a similar fashion that she remembers from her dreams, where he called to her saying, Come this way, that way.
Okay. So what we'll do here, and you hear this as well, Magnolia. What is your response to this? Because what's going to happen now, I'm going to end this encounter. And I'm going to do this a different way. But I need to know how you react to this, Magnolia. Obviously, you listen in, but if he takes off, are you going to follow?
Yeah, I think this would trigger her moment of clarity ability.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where she can like think clearly for a brief moment. And
can you drop that at will?
Drop rage?
Yeah. You find that out. And Sheppy, how do you react to this? What do you do? She calls to you and says, Quick, come this way. And she starts stepping away down the southern corridor. What do you do? Now, in front of you is that goop. You'll have to, unless you 5-foot step it, which will slow you down, you might risk falling over or you might not. Depends on your dex. But also, you could try and hop it. Which is actually easier to do. Again, based on your acrobatics skill. But how do you react? Are you there? You're muted. Talking away to yourself.
I'm going to get out of Dodge.
All
I'm
right,
going to follow her.
Yeah. How are you gonna do it?
I'm gonna hop it.
All right. Go ahead and make an acrobatics check. Just don't fumble. Oh, nice.
He flies through the air.
You could make it in good time. Now, what about you, Magnolia? What is your response to this? You overheard this. You understood what was going on as you snap yourself out of this rage.
Yeah.
Because let's look at it this way. The combat has all but died down. The noise, the chaos, it's slowly dying down. Let's see what it says.
Yeah, so I can't voluntarily stop raging. However, if my rage lasts for 1 minute until there are no enemies I can perceive or until I fall unconscious. Those are the 3 ways that rage ends, essentially.
All right. Well, go ahead and make a d6 roll. This is going to be consulting the Oracle. I'm going to determine what number in 6 a result is going to occur. And let me think for a second before you roll it. All right, go ahead and roll it.
I'm just going to do it public because I don't really
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah, you can do this public. 4. You do not come out of your rage at this point. However, nothing here is stopping you from moving and doing something which might seem logical to us. You're still in a rage and probably looking for opponents, so wherever you think they would be, you go ahead and do that. I'll let you role play this out. What do you want to do? There's guards up ahead. You have acquaintances to the north and to the south, although you don't know these people. The goblin and the dwarf. They're acquaintances of a sort. Totally up to you what you do here. I know one thing. This guy's out of town. He's been sitting around way too long. He is out of here. Let me delete him.
I'll do this part. She's
All right, so you're moving up towards the guards and surrendering? Or attacking? What are you doing?
I'm gonna surrender.
All right. In a
Yeah,
rage. I surrender! Take me!
I'll use a moment of clarity for my first action.
I'm not going to let you surrender while you're raging. I'm just not going to do it because it makes absolutely no sense. You could stand there and threaten and not attack anybody, but you're just raging, man. It just doesn't make sense. I give up! I'm sorry. It just doesn't work for me. What do you want to do, Patrick?
Frollo's gone.
Yeah, they're all beating a hasty
There's
retreat.
There's no more enemies then.
Unless you want to fight guards.
Definitely not.
Well, I think rage ends at the end of her turn when there are no enemies left. So I still have a turn where I'm raging essentially.
All right, let me look at it one more time. It lasts for 1 minute. Until there are no enemies you can perceive. Now, you can't perceive any enemies at this point. It's obviously the town guard is not an enemy. Obviously, the people that you were fighting have all disappeared. I mean, they're not there. For all intents and purposes, you can drop this rage. I would allow you to do so. So, in fact, I'm going to take it off you.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do... Yeah, no, you got double rage. Here we go.
Wait a minute, that's a double rage there. That's equally bad here.
Whatever you want to do, you can do. Whether it's logical or not, totally up to you. But your rage is gone. That's fine.
Yeah, Magnolia would see the dwarf surrendering and would rather surrender alongside the dwarf.
All right, so, all right, you're giving up. All right, and with that, Magnolia and Artemis give themselves up, diverting the attention of the guards, which actually is a benefit for the goblin and the gnome, who have decided the better part of valor is to run like hell. And you guys do so off into the silence. Now, I need to know one thing. Do you want to run all out, or do you want to hunker in the shadows and use stealth? You'll move half your distance. So make that choice first.
Jeffrey's just going to run. He's getting as much distance from the guards as possible.
All right, so knowing this, Thea, do you follow suit and run like hell?
The wind.
As fast as your little legs can carry you.
She takes a little worried jog down. Sure.
Okay. And you're leading him to your house, your home, which is not far. You could,
Yes.
all right, makes sense. And secondly, I forgot it, so hold on to that. All right, let me make a die roll. No stealth check from you. Okay. I know the result of that. All right, so this concludes this one. We could safely say that these little areas are also removed as silence once again descends on the battlefield. We'll keep this map loaded. And as you guys make good your escape, Sheppy, Sheppy left the dwarf behind.
They have left the building and left the perpetrator behind. Like, I was just trying to defend this guy, and they left me.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of a bad move. But now you are completely surrounded by guards. The town guard has arrived in force, and you're probably the only two that have been left behind. Everybody else left. Although you get the impression that others are being held captive as well by the town guard, just been the other side of the building that tried to make an escape in the west. But everybody else seemed to make good an escape. You willingly surrendered. They're kind of rough with you. They've got their hands on you. They're not grabbing you technically, but they are holding you, checking your weapons and disarming you if you haven't already done so. And you're currently being held. And I don't think either of you have met this individual, but he does stand in front of you, and he seems to be a leader among the guards. He stands out according to the way he's dressed. What's your business in town? He says to the dwarf. What are you doing here? What was going on? Some kind of commotion again, I think. You'll all be taken in, unless you have some excuse for this. What say you, dwarf?
Well, guardsman, as you can see,
He leans into you and begins sniffing, and I smell alcohol. You're drinking, aren't you?
I may have had quite a few ales in me, officer. Officer, now just calm your jets before I headbutt you in the hips. But there's a very good explanation for this. I was drinking with a friend of mine. Arthurian is blinking, trying to get his story straight. And a little goblin fella, and this big hulking beast of a man came over, and I told him the same thing I just told you. That I was going to headbutt him in the hips if he kept smacking my friend. And he just wouldn't listen to me. So we decided to step outside here and have ourselves a talk of sorts, we should say. Arthurian's gonna spit blood on the ground. It was a very verbalizing talk. Sure, you know punches were thrown. I can guarantee it, officer. I'd like to deceive him, Fritz.
Okay. What skill is that? Deception?
Deception.
All right, that is going to be... By the way, create diversion. Very useful in combat. You should read that.
I know. I was reading it just a second ago.
There you go. Lie. If you're lying, that's what you would use there. If you're trained, you can use the feint. So I think you're using the lie, correct?
Yeah.
All right, it's mental, it's secret, it's auditory, concentrate, and yeah, you can use lie. So give me a second here, and we're gonna cover that. Who did I not bring over here? Oh, hold on a second, Rachel. As you guys make good your escape, running down back alleys, through brush and backyards, climbing ladders, scaling roofs, and finally, you reach the front step of Althea's abode. All right, let's see what your roll is. This is going to be a secret roll against whose DC? The one you're talking to. It's going to be Perception DC.
I think it rolled.
I'm going to have to open his sheet. I don't know what his perception is on the HUD. Doesn't show the modifier. All right. And okay. Now, what did you say to him?
That it was a non-physical contest.
Why,
He probably knows that I'm so drunk that I'm lying out my butt right now.
why don't I believe you, dwarf? Tell me. Convince me and I'll let you go, because right now you're going in.
Well, now, you see, now hold on just a minute now. All right, gigs up. Me and the big, tall little fella, we kind of stepped outside here. We had it out. I told him that I headbutt him in the hips. I didn't headbutt him in the hips. I just sort of tackled him and headbutted him a few good times. He gave me quite the wallop, though.
You did.
Fast. He's pretty fast for a tall, fat man.
All right, enough of this. He looks over at the Maggie. What do you have to say? What's your excuse? You look like a warrior. Who are you, anyway? That pick looks pretty dangerous. Were you using that? Take hold of this one. And two guards come up behind you, Maggie, and they each grab the back of your arms and restrain you. All right? Being a little bit cautious with you, seeing that pick that you had out.
Yeah.
I assume you dropped it on the ground, of course, but still, you had it out. Actually, let me think about that. Did they actually see you use that? Because you could be considered surrendering, taking your weapon off, right? All right, I'll take that back. They're not restraining you. They really didn't see you use it. So yeah, we'll retcon that. So Yeah, what do you have to say? Better make it good. Lass.
Just in the bar, when the large gentleman brawler began bad-mouthing like this dwarven fellow here and his goblin companion, friend, however to say it.
Okay.
They only came
Okay.
to first to cheer on the dwarf and make sure that nobody actually got physically
Okay, so you're basically just reiterating what happened as truthfully as you can. So there's no
yeah.
deception, and you're not trying to use diplomacy to try and make an impression, like to convince them to let you go. That's what that would be. You're just reiterating the facts.
Yeah,
And
just telling them.
all right, with that, they gather you up and gather you further to the north. There's a little open area, and you can see there's 4 other people that have been gathered that are being held. And they gather you all together in a
boy.
group. There's about 24 guards grouped here. And off you go. And you got a little long walk, but they're going to take you to the Huskow up at the Otari garrison, where you're going to be in for the night, and that's it. And they'll probably, well, you have no idea, but typically they would let you go on a minor offense like this if there was any weapons used or magic, or if someone was bloodied or murdered. That would keep you in there, and that would call for the magistrate to come in once a month. They come into town and they judge these things. So if things were bad, you'd be in jail for a month. But it doesn't, you get the feel that it isn't too bad. They're not really chaining you and shackling you and taking you off. That's for one. And 2, it was just a friendly brawl, really, you know. Maybe they'll let you out at sunrise. Who's to say? You kind of get that impression. But regardless, they take you off. Now, unless anyone wants to try and make an escape or whatever, that is going to be what happens.
Yeah, I'll take the.
What about you, Artemis? Arthurian? You good with that? It's your last chance. Off to the Huskow.
Yeah, that'll be it for me. I surrendered willingly. I'll go willingly.
All right. And my camera died. All
Things
right.
I get into for this goblin's honor.
Yep. In the meantime, as we all head over to Thea's abode, even those of us that are in jail, you reach the steps. You're heavy breathing. Shh, quiet, shh, you say to the goblin. You're at the side of the house. There's no door here. There's a window. You could easily pull yourself into the window, but you don't feel that's necessary. The lights are on in the streets ahead. You wait, you pause. Correct? As you wait and pause till silence descends on the streets, you could make your move to the front door and slip inside. Do you do so?
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately.
All right, you don't hear any guards close by or any commotions. It seems like the right moment, and you both dash off to the front and you make your way inside. Go ahead and describe what happens next.
All right, Sheppy's spitting blood. Oh,
Quick,
was in the wrong place.
Come here. Sit down. And I cast heal.
Okay, do that.
Thank you, Gnome. You look familiar.
I am. A while back, you helped me in the. Graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
She was so distracted healing you. She just had a moment.
The sight of blood. Yes, I do remember. Sheppy remembers you from the other night. You were being attacked by the undead. I see you're okay.
I am, but you're not. What happened?
It's just wrong place, wrong time, I suppose.
Were you alone? Who was that woman you were with?
Not sure who she is, but the dwarf is my friend.
Oh,
I feel kind of bad for leaving him behind, but, sometimes you gotta run. I just met him today.
oh. Did we need to go back for him? I've seen what they do to brawlers out on the street.
Well, from past experiences, he didn't pull any weapons, so he should be okay. I'll probably let him out in the morning. Once he sobers up, I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
But we'll go check on him in the morning, I suppose.
I think that would be best. Here, Sheppy, I wouldn't feel right casting you out. Come spend the night. I can put some blankets together.
Hmm. Sheppy not sure. I guess you are nice to Sheppy. Sheppy agrees. It will be okay.
It's the least I could do for what you've helped me with in the past.
Thank you.
To be honest, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. Not in any odd sense, but I suppose it is. I've been dreaming of more like a nightmare, but our encounter at the graveyard. Are you a spiritual goblin?
Sheppy doesn't understand. No, definitely not. I just like fire. I don't.
She gets the fire going in her house,
Let
in
me
her
help.
little
Let me help.
apartment. As soon as he says I like fire, she's like, okay, I can take a hint. I think you're important. You might not believe in any spiritual higher power, but something's been calling me to you with the events that happened the other day, and I think I was meant to find you again.
Hmm.
And here
I think.
as you are in my apartment, I have.
Well, maybe this is true. You must find out more. You should join me in my adventures.
What are you currently adventuring? She's like leans in.
Well, I've heard some rumors.
Go on.
Different adventures.
Oh, okay. Um, sure. I'll join you.
Okay.
But for now, let's get some rest. I'm sure the adrenaline's still kind of kicking, and just take it easy. And in the morning, we'll pay visit to the jailer and see how your friend is doing.
I have to ask you something.
Yes,
What is
yes.
that? What is that mouse? He looks
What?
appetizing.
What mouse? And she covers her pocket with her hand. It was clearly poking his head out. Uh, don't worry about it. This is just Binley. He is not food. Binley is friend.
Are you sure? He looks tasty.
He's yeah, I'm positive. Binley, meet Sheppy. I don't think you had the chance to meet during the commotion earlier.
Is it?
in the pocket. And she just, like, to the side whispers to Binley, "Don't come out unless I tell you."
Chippy
Please.
just kind of licks his lips. Ooh, okay.
Althea
Alright.
will also offer Sheppy any kind of food she's got lying around in her little place. To
He
take
will
his
take
mind
anything you
off
have.
of Binley.
Okay. So you can get yourself all situated there for the night. And did you decide what was going to happen with your friends that you left behind?
Yeah, we're going to check on him in the morning. When the
Like-
heat gets off him.
Like, how are you going to do that? What is your plan for that? You're going to check on them in the
Visiting the
morning.
jailer.
All right.
Yeah, first sign of sunlight.
And okay, so this is late evening, so we're like past midnight at this point that all this transpired. As far as Arthurian and Magnolia, you found yourself locked away in the cellars, the dungeons, if you will, of the Otari garrison. It's a big stone mini fortress of a
The
sort.
wine cellars?
Yeah, you can kind of say that, minus the wine. And they put you in a common cell along with the ones that were captured with you. And it's cold, it's damp. There's some cots and straw and rags and some buckets. And you spend your evening without any real incident occurring until the break of dawn. I imagine you take advantage of it and try and curl up and get some sleep if you wish to do so. It is a restful sleep. You can get your healing back if you did take any damage. You put yourself back at full, I think. Actually, Arthurian, you took a beating. Just a manhandled beating. You're going to get your level times your con modifier. You'll get that back for a restful sleep, assuming your armor is off and all that stuff. That can come back to you, so you can give yourself that. Magnolia also, if you took any damage. But all your equipment has been taken, including your armor, hence you can get that sleep. Your weapons, equipment, it's all been stored away. And they don't say a word to you. They just lock you away. They might never release you. Who knows? At Althea's abode, the night progresses well. You find a most restful sleep, eventually, Althea. A sort of calmness, like a circle fully coming round. Something has finally clicked. But it's not over. You get the sense that this is just the beginning of something so much more grander. And it's those thoughts racing through your mind. Suddenly there's a crash in the street. You jolt up. You grab at your pocket instinctively, as if Binley was there, but he's not. He's actually on the windowsill, kind of peering down at you, his eyes wide open. But it's then looking at him that your eyes look up into the sky. And there you see it. You see Destina's home. The bright North Star. Your head falls back down into the pillow, sinking deep. You smile. And your eyes begin to slowly blink shut, focused on Destina's home in the sky. The words fall off your lips. It begins. And sleep overtakes you. Sheppy, you're happy as it is to lie under the table, curl up into a little ball. It's kind of uncomfortable, only because you prefer lying in squalor. Your home, which isn't far, but you realize that it's probably best if you stay here. You're thinking about Tamley. What's she gonna say? She's gonna be sore at me. She might not bring me that lunch every day anymore. Takes a while, but you too drift off. And with that, you can get any healing if you took any damage. I don't know if you did or not. I think
did quite
actually,
a bit.
yeah, you did. You got clunked a few times. It's your level times your con modifier.
I did it.
You'll get that back in the morning. And morning indeed arrives. 8 hours later. It's about 3 hours past sunrise. You've slept in today, Thea, and it felt good. Yes, Walter. Let me put this at dawn, and then advance it 3 hours. Can I do that? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, excellent. It's at about this time that you realize, oh, wait, our new friends. Well, Sheppy's friends. And you jump up out of bed hastily. Binley nowhere to be found. And as you get up and you walk through your short little hallway, there you see Sheppy under the table. And on the chair in front of him is Binley, staring straight at him. They're both staring at each other, eye to eye. Nothing aggressive. Admiration, perhaps. Binley, of course, isn't just any old creature. There is something about him. It cannot be explained. And someone who is touched by magic, like wizards and sorcerers and other such, recognize that magical energy that's in magical beings. Perhaps Sheppy senses that. You know that Binley is a magical creature. And you stare there and you pause and you see this little connection of a sorts. You have no fear. The goblin would eat little Binley at this point. What do as you see this scene?
Come now, Binley, into the pocket. Come on, come on. Sheppy, we have to go get your friends. We've slept in.
And he hops up, and you reach down as usual. He pops into your hand and starts crawling up your arm, heading for his little pocket.
You have no worries now. Sheppy know Binley. Knows Binley very well. Sheppy not hurt Binley.
I'm glad you've understood. Binley is friend.
Yes. Okay. Sheppy wants to see his friend again. Hopefully he's okay.
Who's
I hope
this?
so too.
Artemis?
Yep.
Don't worry, I got something in store for them. When you're ready, you can head off and see how well they fared during the night. All right, you do so?
Yep.
Okay. And are you taking the day off? Thea? Or are you...
Does she work every day? Is it a weekend?
They work every day. They work every day. But she said to you the night previous. I think she did, unless I totally forgot. You take all the time you need.
She did mention that.
So if you want to go with Sheppy on the way up to the Otari garrison, you can do so. Or you can check in. Or you could do so later. It depends on what you want to do.
She's caught up with what is happening with Sheppy. She completely forgets. So she'll join Sheppy.
And that's over here. If you look at your Otari map, you'll see that it's right there. That big tower. That's the Otari garrison. Right along the east edge of the town. Prominent building. And you walk up to this big stone building. There's a big iron fence in the front. There's a little checkpoint. You could see where there's a guard always stationed in there. It's got a little... He could stand in there and stay out of the rain. That kind of thing. Just one. And he greets anybody that comes forward to the gate. And he greets you. What's your business? You state your business. And he points you in the direction of the main entrance to the lower levels. And he says, go in there. They'll show you where you need to be. But they don't release people. Unless you're somebody in the know. They let them go in their own will. Depends on how much crime they committed. With that understood, you make your way a short distance across the yard and up to the gate. You rap on it. Big nose iron thing. And it opens. And there's this big burly guy. He's got a beard, his white hair, balding on the top. He wears like a off-white tunic, leather belt, with a big giant set of keys on the side that jingle as he walks around. What do you want? Can I help you? What do you want?
Yes, we come to check on our friends that were put in here last night from a brawl.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at human-sized level. Oh, you're down there. Oh, okay. Well, come in. Come in. Come in. He leads you into this small little room where there's a desk to the left and another desk to the right, actually, and some chairs against the far wall opposite you. It's only about a 15-foot square room, but there's a door directly opposite of you, an exit that's closed currently. Take a seat. We'll be right with you. And then he kind of limps his way towards the exit, opens it, and walks out. About 5 minutes goes by, and a guard comes in. Go ahead and make a public perception roll. Both of you. You don't recognize him, neither one of you. But anyway, he steps through the door. Greetings, what can we do for you? My name's Lofter. I'm in charge of this part of the town in the day. What do you want?
We're curious about two people that you brought in yesterday. There was one named Arthurian, and the other was Magnolia. When are they being released?
Never heard of him. Can you give me more details? We don't.
There was a fight outside the Nook, or what was it?
Oh,
The
last
Crux
night.
Nook.
Crow's
Yes,
Cask.
yes, we know all about that. We didn't take no names. There's a whole bunch of them down there in the lower level. They'll be released in the afternoon if you're waiting for them. You'll have to wait. You're welcome to wait. Is there anything else?
Would you...
No. Well, go ahead.
Althea stands up and she kind of shyly goes over to him.
Get out the rule book.
If you wouldn't mind, would you please release them early?
I love it. I love it. Diplomacy check. You're going to try and coerce?
Yes.
Or make
I
an
will
impression. Make an impression. Now, you would guess, out of the 5 levels of attitude this guy might have, he's probably neutral, right? So one step above that is going to be friendly. That's not bad. One step above that is helpful. That's when you
Is
hit
there-
jackpot. So it's a diplomacy check to make an impression. If you want to sing, do a dance, do some magical tricks, or anything in addition to asking, go ahead and do that if you want. Or we'll just go with your straight diplomacy skill.
Are there more than? Is it just more than him there? Are there two people?
You get the impression there's more people in the room he came from, but right now it's just him, and it's.
I
the two
only
of you.
ask because I have group impression.
Ah.
Figure 2 birds, 1 stone. But if it's just him that's really addressing us, then I'll just roll the diplomacy for.
Make an impression. This is how you change their attitude.
Can I help with the check?
No.
Okay.
You're an ugly goblin. You'll only hurt it.
I'm very charismatic.
You're different. You have a different approach than what she's doing. I think you'd be
All right.
more beneficial if you try the opposite spectrum. Intimidation.
Was it supposed to be blind or public?
It depends on my mood.
Well, I had already just rolled it. So hopefully your mood is favorable.
Yeah, since you're being creative here, I'll let you have that. It would be hidden though. What is his? All right, and what did you ask him? Let him out early? No, that was you're trying to make an impression, or are you trying to request? Because that's a request, and you'd be
I
using
suppose
that.
it would be making. It would be both, but first making an impression and then requesting. I'm buttering him up
Well, you just did
for
so.
the
You just-
request.
You just did so. It wasn't a critical success, but you definitely see the effects of buttering up. As he says, oh, okay. I'll think about it. Well, he won't think about it. That's why you have to kind of, what are you doing to make an impression? So I can describe his reaction.
It's been a long night, hasn't it?
Hmm.
You said your name's Lofter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you could use a rest, as we all could. I've just woken up myself, so don't listen to me
Yeah.
ramble. But I just want to say I appreciate everything you've done for
Well,
this
thank
town.
You. Thank you. It's about time.
It really
Somebody
is
understands.
noticed.
All right. Now, try your second diplomacy.
See if it's any better.
Well, my
And
here's
this one's
for all the
blind.
marbles.
I have rolled it.
You must couch the request in terms that the target would accept, given their current attitude towards you. The GM sets the DC based on the difficulty of the request. Some requests are unsavory or impossible, and even a helpful NPC would never agree to them. All right, so I have to make these DCs based on his attitude. All right, let me what'd you get? I'm going to have to show you what you rolled because why not? It's fun. It is absolutely fun.
Would I be able to use a hero point
Yes.
to re-roll that?
Yes. I'm letting you.
All right, let me get rid of that hero point.
You guys are being creative.
Hopefully that's a little better.
All right. I'm sorry. I can't let them out anytime soon. Noon is the release time. We let them out now. We're going to have to let more of them out. So, but here we have some biscuits in the back room if you care for some.
She takes him up on the offer. She's friendly enough.
All right.
She's taken the time to get to know him.
So, all right. So the net result of this, they invite you in the back there. It's fully windowed in there. There's nice fresh air coming in, open skyline. You can look up. It's like a tower in that back room. But they have food all along the side tables. It looks like people come in to visit some of the prisoners, and you have some biscuits to chew on and say, if you want, we could take you down and we could visit them, or we could bring them up.
Oh,
Which would
that
you
would
prefer?
be great. I've never been to this side of the town. I'm
Well,
so
then
excited.
Come, we'll show you. And they lead you down. There's this big set of steps. It's wide by about 10 feet. It just goes down maybe 20, 30, 40 feet down. It's cold. It's dank. You can hear dripping water. Or really, is it water?
That's the link.
Is it water? Who knows? And you look down this one hall.
Oh, gross.
You look down this one hall and you see about 5 cell doors on the right. On the left, you see 2 of them, but these 2 are double-doored ones. The one closest to you is the one you're led to. And there, you can see them in there. And there's about 8, 10 people in here. You recognize the dwarf. On the far opposite side, you recognize the other patron, the other one that was with you, the one dressed in skins, whoever she was. She had some kind of pick. Obviously, that's your compatriots. You as well, Sheppy, you see them. They look ragged. They look half naked. I mean, they're in their normal clothing. Thank heavens they remembered to buy it and put it in their inventory on their equipment sheath. But anyway, there they are.
Oh, I bought it.
Faces are black, just covered in dirt and slime. And you realize now that all in here on the floor, it's just dirt, mud on one side of it. Obviously, they've kind of had to sleep in this. Not the most comfortable. You did get your points back because of exhaustion, especially you, Artemis, or Arthurian. You were exhausted and half drunk. So also was Magnolia. She don't look as bad, but she keeps to herself in the other corner. But they both describe what they see besides that, Arthurian, as you sit in here.
Well, you would see Arthur, and he'd be pretty beat up, pretty black and blue. He took quite a few shots from the big guy before we could get the upper hand going. And yeah, he's the left side of his face, pretty bruised, stoked up. He's in simple, ragged, dwarven-made clothing, just sitting there. Nose is sort of out of place too. He's had a rough night.
Can't hear
Can't
you.
hear you.
I
What?
quit talking.
What about you, Magnolia?
Maggie is in the other corner.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
Maggie's in the other corner.
Yeah, the opposite side of...
Yeah. And she is just. She was doing like morning exercises. And the moment you guys came in, like took a brief pause and looked at you guys before returning back to doing like push-ups.
Okay.
Doesn't
Althea?
say a word to you or like react, like besides just look. Walk away.
All right, Althea. How do you respond to this?
She sees. First, she sees the state of these jail cells,
Pretty ragged.
and she's just beside herself. She can't handle it. She's like an overload. She can't be there. She can't. And I'm assuming Lofter is right next to her.
Lofter's there.
She grabs him as tightly as she can, which is not very tightly because she's got a -1 strength modifier. She tightly grabs him. She like pulls him down to her level.
Yes?
This is no condition for anybody to live in. These people are injured, and this place smells bad. You have to let me do something about this. You can't keep them here.
I don't know what could you do? This is all we have funds for. We can't keep it like a vacation home.
She hands him a silver piece. It's all she's really got.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll put it to good use.
Please do. But also give me the opportunity as a patron of Desna to heal these people. I cannot stand by knowing what I know now and leave.
And with that, you two, and he points to the two, Maggie and the dwarf. Come here to the gate.
Arthurian will stand up and waddle to the gate.
You have no shoes either. Your shoes were taken from you.
They even took my shoes?
Even your shoes. You're lucky.
Very thorough search indeed.
You're lucky they left you with a breechcloth. 'Cause it's... Because it's pretty much all you're wearing. Anyway, you approach the gate. Magnolia, you're fine. You approach as well. I assume you do. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Bring the keys. Unlock it. The old guy comes out of nowhere. And he comes up to the gate with this chingly, chingly, chingly. He's going through it. It takes about 10 seconds. He finds the big one. Tries it. Doesn't work. Tries the second biggest one. Tries it. Doesn't work. He gets to the third one. There's about 50 keys on here. And it unclicks. It opens up. And go on, step out. You can get all your stuff back in the upper chamber. Go up the steps. The rest of you are going to have to wait. You two can go. And they don't ask you to file any papers or anything. This is a normal process. You're in for the night causing troubles. That was all it was. But he's willing to let you out a few hours earlier. A couple hours. So you make your way up the steps as a group. And there you can find your stuff. They have it all set on one of the tables in this tower room. Not near the food, but on the other side. They have various things stacked that was taken. And you can sort through it and see what's yours. And easy enough to find. The rest is all just rags, some clubs, things of that nature. And if there's any coins, you don't see any. But your coins are there, your pouches. And you could make your way out of the building. Which, unless you want to do anything else, you can do so. And I'll ask you what you want to do next. Because right now you'll be standing outside the gate of the structure, the Otari garrison. The four of you. You barely know each other. I don't think Magnolia's spoken to any one of you that much, if at all. But, yeah, the four of you are all standing together here.
Sheppy says, Arthurian, This is my friend Thea.
Hello, Sheppy. How are you?
Sorry about that last night. I see you had to stay in a country club. Wasn't that bad? No?
I'm never speaking of it again, Sheppy.
I told you I could outdrink you.
You did not.
Who ended up in jail?
I ended up in jail defending you
Yeah.
from the big guy.
Who was smarter?
He had
You're
made
out.
me quite upset in my ale cup state. Yeah,
Well, you can
exactly.
thank Thea for getting out early. She coerced the guards to let you out.
And
Yep.
who's this Thea?
She is
He
my
like
best friend.
leans behind Sheppy, who is just about the same height as her, and waves shyly.
Arthurian will waddle over and offer a hand. Ah, good to meet you, milady. Good to meet you. Thank you for getting me out of here.
No problem. But if you don't mind, please take a bath.
Are you saying a stink?
No. Yes. No.
You know,
Smells fine.
it's a great insult whenever you call a dwarf smelly.
She holds her mouth like almost like she's gonna gag.
Arthurian just busts out laughing. I'm teasing with you. I'm teasing.
At least take a bath to avoid the infection you might get. I see you're covered in bruises and wounds. Let me take care of that.
Thank you. I plan to take a bath as soon as, well, get my armor on.
So you can take a bath with the armor on.
Yes. Clean the armor and the body. Do it all one shot.
I could see that.
Just jump in the river.
Alright, so I'm actually going to, while we're at the front door, going to cast the 3 action heal to disperse the positive energy to heal the... It's going to be a D10, actually, because I have... Because I'm a good cleric.
Yeah, so therefore you get an extra die. Or a bump in die, I believe.
It's a bump, a D10.
Cool.
Instead of a
Alright.
D8, it's a D10.
Wow, that's pretty useful. Is this something you get for being a cloistered cleric, or just a thing you took?
It's a class feat, so just something I picked from being cleric.
Okay.
Where is it? I cast that. Okay. I thought that would show up. How about this one? No. Alright, well I guess I'll just roll a d10. Oh, I'm so sorry. I realized why I wasn't seeing it, because it's blind. You're gonna have, like, so many things for healing. I'm so sorry. I clicked it like 6 times.
That's a lot of heal checks right there.
Here, I switched to public. I'll cast it. There it is. And
There it is.
let's see if I click healing, if it will roll a d10 for me. Nope, it's still a d8. So I'll just separately roll a d10.
Mhm. Yes. 6.
Alright, so you guys heal 6 hit points.
That was Elias that rolled that for some reason.
Oh, maybe because he might be selected when we're in Otari.
Now, I've also revealed on the map, the Otari map, you'll notice a new little building has appeared called Althea's Place. Let me make it white. Actually, let me make it, what's your favorite color?
Yellow. You can also make it, well, I don't know, red might be confusing because she's wearing like a red and white shirt.
There it is, little yellow house. That is Althea's home, and right close to that is where that little brawl broke out. So, yeah.
Rook's Nook.
Yep. So there is that. And let's see, we're at a point where we're going to have to call the session. But where would you like to meet and end this session? You want to go to the... Where do you want to take this at this point? And
Rowdy Rock Rush, possibly?
regroup yourselves and make some plans before the next outing.
Where is Arthurian staying?
I'm staying at the fishery.
Then maybe we could meet there.
Yes,
Because
I believe
Althea's
Shippy has some
dead
explaining
serious
to do.
about that bath.
That, and I think Shippy has some explaining to do with Tamley about the night extravaganzas.
Sheppy forget.
How about you, Maggie?
Sheppy don't remember. I drink too much.
How about you, Maggie? What are you doing in this?
So what, Arthurian? Going and getting cleaned up. They're suggesting Rowdy Rockfish. Magnolia will just sort of nod and like, well, we will talk later about business.
All right, what sort of business did you have in mind? Or, well, never mind. We'll chat later.
Okay. So, where is your gathering place? We could
The fishery.
we could
Yeah,
ass-
fishery.
all right. You go back to the fishery. At least the two of you. Thea, are you coming with them?
She'll go to the Dawnflower Library just
Okay.
to check in with them.
Okay, you can do that. And Magnolia, you're going to the fishery as well, or are you going to hang out and meet them at, say, the Rowdy Rockfish or the Crook's Nook or something? What?
Yeah, we're saying fishery.
All right, you're all going to the fishery.
Yeah.
And Thea will make a quick run to the Dawnflower, which she has no problem doing. They say, do what you must do. You go into the Shrine of Desna. That's where you mainly go, and you missed your morning service, but that's okay. You kind of had a service before you went to bed. And you can make your way back to the fishery. And when you arrive, you see that your newfound friends are out on the porch talking with Tamley, who you've known. You've seen her around many times as well. And you've gathered yourselves together. You see that Arthurian is all cleaned up, rested, a belly full of food as breakfast was served. We'll knock off another hour for all this. You're all relatively close by. Actually, we'll do a 2-hour run, so it's about noon, midday. And you've gathered yourselves together on the porch of Tamley Tendervale. Sitting comfortably, a plate is offered to you, Thea. Sheppy has kind of disappeared and sits by himself on the corner of the building where he likes to sit. He's comfortable over there. He's happy in his squalor. Chewing on little bones. Oh, little bone, where have you been all night? Yes. While the rest of you sit close by, not too far away, in little chairs. Tamley has a nice little rocking chair with their little peg leg pushing back and forth on the chair. Looking out to the sea, you wonder what lies ahead. You share stories, tales, and a few laughs. You all begin to wonder, what really is next? Getting off one of the chairs, Magnolia, kind of distant and to herself, she sits on the porch, closer towards the goblin, looking out towards the sea, thinking in her mind, I would think, about her mission, what she needs to do, and how it involves the gauntlet. She mentions that briefly to you, Artemis, and Thea, emphasizing, I think you should come with us. But I warn you, it is a dangerous place. But if it's adventure you seek, then that perhaps is our next step. I say that for Patrick because he can't get his voice mic working perfectly. That's what I would hope he would say. Because it means in the next session we can all start off heading for the gauntlet at level 3. So everybody tonight has reached level 3. And yes, I know, you just started playing with these characters. Wow, level 2 was easy. That was easy. So you'll all be able to update your characters to level 3, which isn't a big deal, I don't think. Including you, Magnolia, as well as Farley Tell, as well as Dane. They all go up to level 3, so you got your work cut out for you. Think about how you want to do that. And we'll go through that for the next session. We'll make sure everything's done right. And we'll also start working on the downtime for the other characters as well. So that'll be the next session. But that's where we'll end the session, looking out toward the sea and anticipating what lies ahead. Hopefully more adventures. Hey folks, that's our session. We had a great episode. I had fun. I really enjoyed that session. A lot of role play, a lot of storytelling, and of course, combat. I think we had a nice balance tonight, and I think everybody enjoyed it. I hope so. I can't wait for the next one. We're all set up to carry this story forward with some new characters added to the current characters. Pathfinder is awesome. I absolutely love this game system. There's so much to it. I could do so many things with it and feel very satisfied at the end of the session. So worth it. But folks, we'll be back again next week, and I hope you look forward to it. So, bye from me, and from everybody else. Go ahead, Arthurian, you're first.
Good night, my friends. Once again, no other game system can you not only pick a fight in the back alley with an 8-foot-tall giant trying to defend the honor of some goblin that you just met, but you also make a lot of good friends. And once again, everybody, I want you to give a big round of applause to Fritz for putting this awesome session together for us. Took a lot of time out of his week to put all this together for us to tear up, have fun, and punch people in the kneecaps. So we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah.
I'm sure Fritz will have more plans up his sleeves for us. Bye.
Yes, it's only getting better, I'm telling you. What do you think, Jesse? What do you think?
All right. It was a great session. I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of ideas and storylines that I can come out of this from great role playing from everyone. I thank our GM for taking my advice and adding some combats to our stay. I really appreciate it. And once again, to everyone watching, to arms, and we will see you again.
Yeah.
All
They
right.
were hurt.
All right, you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next time. Till next time, folks, you guys hang in there. And you know why? It's only gonna get better.